Hello everyone, we are back. Oh, let me just undeafen. Hi, we are back. I
Hello.
forgot to undeafen myself. Sorry about that.
Oh
No
well,
noob
that's a
mistakes.
good way to start the new season, I guess.
Yeah, perfect. Yes,
Wonder if Coffee is gonna do that in the real season.
I'm not surprised. I think he probably would have done it already during the preseason test if he commented during that time. But yes, welcome back. We are here for our third episode of the review grid.
Mm-hmm.
And this time we'll be taking a look at the 2022 preseason, all the tests that have been going on, the new new cars, new driver combinations, new team liveries, and all that. So yeah, we are going to be going through all of that right now, and yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
we'll get right
Yeah, well,
into it.
right into it. Yes. So driver lineups.
Yes,
I guess
indeed.
we
Hold
can
on,
probably
OBS is
go in
bugging
the
out. Oh, OBS, why
oof.
you do this?
No obs. Don't do this.
Okay, cool. All right.
It's not part of
Yes,
the great master plan. Well,
indeed. All
uh,
right. For the driver lineup.
the driver lineups, yeah. So I guess we can go in alphabetical order of team names.
Yep.
Might be easier. So uh, we have Alfa Romeo,
Yes, indeed.
the Swiss-based team known as Sauber, but also run by the Italian Alfa Romeo outfit. So you can kind of say it's a Ferrari-ish team.
It's pretty much Ferrari.
Mhm,
Yeah. With
mhm.
the new driver combination, of course, Valtteri Bottas after his stint with Mercedes for 5 years in total, I think. Right?
Five. Yep.
Yeah, 5 years with Mercedes. So he was finally let go by Mercedes and picked up by Alfa Romeo. So of course they would, you know, they would be the team that needs a race winning
Race
driver
winning driver and
to lead
team leader.
team
Yeah.
leader. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Because of course he's paired up with the essentially the only rookie on the grid, the real rookie, I would guess, Zhou
Yep.
Guan Yu, China's first Formula One driver.
Yep. And yeah, China finally getting their representation in the big stage. Although, we gotta just with a little disclaimer there, of course, that's a bit of a sponsorship money coming in. So
Yeah,
Guan Yu is kind of a paid driver there. But we don't really try to shun paid drivers early on because they still have to prove their worth. And we have seen like some of the successful ones, some not. So Lance Stroll is pretty much like one of the more established, and
yeah,
he has some potential and skills. It's just early days for him to develop. Whereas a poor example of a paid driver would be, well, an ex-Haas driver
ex
that
driver.
we'll
Yes.
probably not talk about maybe until a while later. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, let's see if he can do anything good. I mean, his stats in F2 kind of average, not really like the best. People always argue that in the preseason, even before the 2021 season ended, people were like, oh, why Joe? Piastri deserves better, Schwartzman better, blah blah blah. But you gotta think again. End of the day, these teams now, they need some money to run the teams and whatnot, right? And also with the budget cap in place since last season, it
Yeah,
also means teams can't really
the sponsorship really matters a lot more now
yeah, so
compared
that
to last time.
sponsorship is pretty much is what they're going to use to pay the driver salaries. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
just look at Hamilton and Verstappen. If they're earning like 50 million a year, pretty sure they're not going to take that off the budget cap, right? There are some like, asterisks in the budget cap as well, so they can use their sponsorship money to, pay off the drivers. Otherwise, if they don't, they have to fork it out of the um, budget.
The team budget.
So that's
Yeah.
a good thing that the rules are a little bit flexible on that. The budget
Mm-hmm.
cap definitely comes into play more for the car development, operating costs and whatnot. Driver salary can be exempted, but if you dig into it, dig into the budget that you have, then you can't go back on that. So yeah, that's where teams do benefit from a bit of you can say paid drivers or drivers that bring in some good sponsors. Like even Checo, he brings in a
Yeah,
good amount of
Mexican
sponsors.
sponsors.
So technically, he's one of the better paid drivers out there. One of the best, if you want
But
to put it that way,
he's
lah.
been well established already. He's been in the sport for I think a decade or over a
Yeah,
decade already now. So
yes,
I mean,
really.
yeah, he's definitely earned his place, and is performing really well. as well compared
Mm.
to others who have been in his situation, like he who must not be named. I guess now I don't know why we're calling him like that, but yeah, basically,
Yeah,
uh, you know,
Voldemort.
yeah,
Yeah, but
but
yeah,
but
I think let's give him a chance. This season,
definitely, definitely,
with Bottas leading the line, he'll be the benchmark for the team. And Guanyu Zhou, he will definitely have to get up to speed very quickly, and
yeah,
we will expect some some slow start, maybe some issues, maybe like it's like not getting up to speed with the car yet or what. But half season, maybe the whole season, once it's up, maybe next season onwards, 2023 season, we never know. He might be on like on pretty good pace, challenging most of the drivers around on
yeah.
equal pace. So
And it
yeah.
really depends
That's-
on the
Mm.
car's performance as well, because of course
Well.
we had a similar situation with Haas last year as well, and Haas had two rookie drivers last year.
Correct.
So yeah, it really depends on the car situation as well in terms of how he's able to perform. But of course,
Exactly.
for
We'll
the
definitely come
car,
to that
yeah,
in the
we'll come to that later. But I guess just to go through with you, what are your thoughts on the car livery for the Alfa Romeo?
Ooh. It looks more like they launched it for Valentine's Day with all that rain and whatnot.
They were
But
actually the
now
last
looking up,
car. I mean, sorry, they were actually the last team to launch the car.
yeah,
Essentially, they were still running the camo livery during the
during
during the
practice.
Barcelona
Mm.
testing. So
Yeah,
yeah,
they did. So it kind of looks nice. It's very like a crimson, I don't know what you call it, maroon-ish kind of color.
yeah.
Uh, I'm not really good with color. I'll just say it's a shade of red lah. Uh,
It's sort
but
of.
a
I mean,
very maroon
it's
red-ish.
not really too much of a difference compared to last year's car. I would say, like in terms of just the color alone and all. I mean, I guess they have to go with a combination anyway. The maroon and white and black.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Probably one of the better looking ones this season.
yeah,
I'll definitely give it there. And yeah, so that's about Alfa Romeo. Next up we have it's Alpha
Alpha
Tauri, another
Tauri.
Alpha team,
Yes.
also based in Italy. The Toro Rosso team, formerly known as Scuderia Toro Rosso, now they've been Alpha Tauri for I don't know 2 3 years.
2 years, I think. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So again, you can definitely say it's an Italian team, but well, Italian or not, they definitely have a solid driver lineup this year,
Mm-hmm.
and they have indeed retained their drivers from last season, which is Pierre Gasly and last year's rookie Yuki Tsunoda.
Yep.
So Yuki, I'd probably start with him to give some feedback on him. He definitely had a poor start last season, right?
Yep.
Compared to
A lot
Gasly.
of
So Gasly was already
mistakes,
established. Mm-hmm.
a lot of crashes that he was involved with. Usually
Mm-hmm.
it's like due to his own mistakes, not really with
Yeah,
others, but yeah, more of him just spinning out by mistake and all that.
but that's part of the learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah,
When
definitely.
drivers get promoted finally from like the junior cities up into F1, then they're like it's a different breed of cars. These beasts are just like five seconds faster than what they usually used to drive in F2. So and the competition is real stiff because of differing car performance. So and him having Gasly as the team leader is definitely like a good benchmark for us to evaluate from the season start itself last season. And we knew that he wasn't really performing that well, but come the second half or towards the late part of the season, right? Probably last 7 8 races,
He
that's where
bucked up a lot.
mm,
He There
really
was a lot
started
of
to do well.
if I remember correctly, a lot of incidents. I get not really incidents, but a lot of instances where he showed his defending skills, especially against like Hamilton and against like a couple of the other midfield cars. Like he did buck up a lot towards the end of the
Mhm.
season, and hopefully he carried that over into this year as well, and yeah,
Yeah,
continued. It's maturing, I guess. He's just
yeah.
getting used to being a Formula One driver and being with the team is definitely not something that he could immediately get used to, and it definitely
Mhm.
showed in the first half. But yeah,
Yeah.
with his I feel like he has a very special relationship with Alex Albon as well. Like I think that was revealed that
Hmm.
Albon was sort of like a
Correct.
mentor for him,
Mentoring the
and now
mentoring
Albon
him.
is in on the grid again. So I think it will
That's
have a good
gonna
effect on him lah.
yeah. Hopefully the rivalry is a bit friendly lah because end of the
Yeah,
day they are still in the Red Bull family.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And
I
Gasly
think
as well. Like honestly,
Mhm.
I would say my thoughts on him. He definitely deserves a drive in the top team. It's just that
Mm,
he's sort of basically being held back now because of the team that he's in and the car that is not performing. I mean, the car is performing for very well for a midfield team, but not for the top teams. I would say, and I would consider this as even also McLaren and Ferrari as well. Other than Red Bull and Merc, but McLaren and Ferrari are also better than them. And
yeah,
AlphaTauri is like sort of like challenging more of Alfa Romeo or Aston Martin. Like that was their challenge last year. Hopefully this year, we'll see more different more different teams involved. But I
yeah. I
really
think
feel like he
unless AlphaTauri becomes like a legit top running team, I don't see him getting anywhere close to um,
the top
winning a
three
championship.
podium, yeah.
If he really wants to, probably go to a top running team, say AlphaTauri is not a top running team, it probably guess someone on the likes of like Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull,
Yeah.
uh, maybe even McLaren, maybe like a top running team this season. Um, he'll definitely have to look outside of his Red Bull uh, carpool, right? So definitely not Red Bull anymore because Checo, if he's around, he may come and go, right? But Max is already committed till 2028.
Yeah,
So if
it's very
he's
long
there,
contract.
I don't think Gasly will be like, want to play the second man in the team. He is more of the team leader kind of person. So if anything, I won't be surprised if he lands a seat in Ferrari in the coming years.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
might be a really good option because Red Bull program driver jumping into Ferrari sounds familiar. That's happened a little too much, eh? Seb has done that. Now Carlos is in
Size,
there, so
yeah.
yeah, he may land a seat there if it's a thing that might happen in future, or
Mm,
even if he's really fully released, he might even land a seat like in the Alpine teams, or when the new engine suppliers come in 2026, we might see him jump ships maybe to McLaren even,
yeah,
because
that's a
he'll
while,
be
quite a while more until then.
wild guess. But my
Yeah,
first guess is if he's out of the Red Bull Ferrari, he's probably gonna go to Ferrari.
Ferrari. That would
uh,
be interesting to be honest. I mean, the
yeah,
current combination that Ferrari have, as we'll get into as well. I feel like it's a very strong combination. So it'd be interesting to see what would cause that to happen. And to see like
yeah,
to try and determine who would be leaving Ferrari. But yeah,
correct.
in terms of the car itself, the 2022 car livery,
Hmm. Okay
I would say
lah.
it's not really too much of a difference. I mean, they can't really change too much anyway. So yeah, it's not really too much of a change compared to last year's
Hmm.
livery, but still, I mean, it looks clean. The same
Yeah,
case as Alfa Romeo. It looks clean. So yeah, it looks good lah on the 2022 car.
yeah. From a like for us like a gamer perspective, sometimes feel like having good skins give you a
Exactly, the skin.
performance. If AlphaTauri is having like a good livery, maybe that's a good benefit to the performance. Yeah, sure, why not? Otherwise, I think they are happy to, keep with the livery that they have.
Yep.
I think they can be close to the top runner teams. Again, we'll come to that in a while, but yeah, livery wise, just okay, nothing much. Um,
Okay.
Speaking of liveries, we have a very interesting team next up, which is Alpine,
Alpine.
BWT Alpine now. If you wanna, twist your tongue a bit, uh, I don't know, a blue and pink on that.
This car
Somehow
looks
it just
very.
looks so nice. Wow.
It it it
Weird
reminds me
but
of
nice.
cotton candy. I don't know why. It gives you like
Yeah,
that kind of
exactly,
like the
right?
Baskin Robbins, the cotton
Yeah,
candy ice cream. It's like
yeah.
blue and pink. Like yeah, it reminds me of that for some reason. That was the first thing that came to mind. But
Mhm.
yeah, they are continuing with their driver pairing as well of Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso. I think it's a good pairing. They seem to have a very good relationship, and
Yep.
especially with the results from last year, where one of them was helping to defend the other, in two
Yeah,
separate
in
occasions.
two
So
separate races, like
yeah,
Fernando helping Ocon to win the Hungarian GP,
yeah,
and then Ocon returning the favor in the Qatar GP, to defend from Checo so that Fernando could secure that
finish,
P3,
yeah, P3.
and even with the VSC, so that really helped them out. So Fernando, I'm surprised when he made his return. I thought he would be like the snobby kind of guy that he was in McLaren before he left for his sabbatical. but he came back like a changed man. I mean,
Yeah.
driving wise, he's still top notch. But I think something just clicked in his mind, mentality wise, or something. That you know, if we need team results, I definitely have to be a team player because he wasn't kind of a team player
He
all
wasn't
his
like that.
his
Yeah, he
career.
wasn't like that in the past decade, I would
Yeah,
say.
and to see him, doing such good job, like such a being such a team player, I feel like he's there just to help develop the car, maybe even challenge for a championship or two if it's possible. But
I think for race
a year
wins,
or
like, at
two,
least to try and get
a
race
year or
wins.
two
Yeah.
maybe, and then he'll just do a Kimi and finally hang his boots for good. And that's where we might see Oscar Piastri, the reserve driver of Alpine in this season. Um, Rumors has it that in a season or two he might be promoted, and
Mm-hmm.
obvious choice would be for Fernando to leave the team, and that's what we're predicting, right? But we
Yep.
never know if Ocon also it's suddenly released from the Mercedes program um, completely, or Ocon gets a drive elsewhere, maybe in the Mercedes again, or maybe in I don't know whichever team that's coming in. We might see someone the likes of Gasly maybe again throwing some wild curveballs here. Gasly might jump into the Alpine or whatever. uh all those things are possible. We never know, but yeah, Oscar Piastri definitely uh is in prime position to benefit from either one of these drivers moving out of the team. So let's hope that guy gets a chance as well. Livery wise, again, I think maybe the best we have seen so far. I think for me,
It's
it's
an
one of the
interesting
best one.
combination. Yeah, it was a very
Mm.
interesting combination, but somehow it still worked.
Yeah, you know
And
what's funny? Just the other day when we were watching the Bahrain preseason test, right? There was an Aston Martin running out on track, and then there's this Alpine running at the same time. I had a legit brain freeze moment there. I was thinking, why are there two Aston Martin? Why are there two racing points out there? And then it took me a moment to process that. Oh my God, that green car
that,
is an Aston Martin.
yeah,
Pink car is not a racing point, it's actually an Alpine that's having a BWT sponsor with the pink color.
I
I was
think
like,
the
oh my
that
God.
that pink color as well, like even in the slideshow that I have going on here. So like this pink color car, this is specifically for the Bahrain GP. But I think moving forwards, they will be
Yes,
using the combination of the pink and blue. This is
correct.
specifically for the
So they
first
will
race.
be first two races, if I'm not wrong.
Two races, is it?
First
Okay.
two races, so they will be using this pink livery for the first two races.
Yep.
Basically the racing point livery lah, you can say
Yeah,
lah.
it's pretty
So
much
they
the exact same. Yeah.
and then they'll go back to the cotton candy, which I think definitely looks much
That one
better on
looks
this
so good. Yeah. And I feel like
this
especially if it was a night
Bahrain.
race, I think it would look very nice in a night race.
Oh yeah, Bahrain. Sadly, we won't get it, but we
Singapore,
might get it in Singapore.
yeah.
We might get it in Jeddah. Is that the second race of the season? I'm actually
Yes. Yeah, Jeddah is
yeah,
second.
second race. So we might not even see the cotton candy in Jeddah. So well, a bit of a sad moment there, but never mind. Yeah. Anything else to add on? I think we have
That's it. I think we can move on
yeah.
to the next team, which is Aston Martin.
Aston Martin, their second official season as Aston Martin
Yes.
in the season in F1. Pretty long name they have this year. Uh, what is it?
I don't even want to bother to go
Aston Martin,
through the whole thing.
Aston Martin, Aramco, Cognizant, uh, F1. I don't know.
It's like their
Uh,
official
yeah,
name, right?
they started off as Aston Martin, and then they had Cognizant as their title sponsor added to the back, and then they had Aramco as well. So it's like three, two title sponsors there. I don't know if there's a third. Well, it's a long, long name. I'm actually just googling it right now. What's the Aston Martin F1 team name?
Yep. So
um,
while you're doing that,
yeah.
just to mention with regards to their driver lineup, they are sticking with the same driver lineup from last year, who are Sebastian Vettel and Lance Stroll. So
Mm-hmm.
I think the main change here is Vettel somehow managed to grow his hair back like fully, fully on his head now. So
Yeah, last year, right?
yeah, so like what we saw during the whole testing sessions and all that. But yeah, in terms of the car, I would say like I was Aston Martin the first to release their car. I think they were
Um,
either the first or second to
mhm.
release, and their car release sort of created the first shockwaves in terms of like the addition of the gills on the side pods of the car, because it was
Yeah.
very obvious. It's very wide, like what you can see right here, right now on the
Mhm.
screen.
Very
So
thick.
yeah, it was quite it caused quite a bit of talk lah, to come up with regards to the new changes in
Mhm.
2022 and so on. But yeah, in terms of the car look itself, it's
It's
green.
pretty standard.
It's
The
green.
Aston
Yeah.
Green, yeah, the good old Aston Green, which is pretty nice to see.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it looks
Kind of
good.
get
Like
used to it, yeah.
it looks
And
good.
yeah,
Like
just
yeah,
a
nothing to shout about.
confirmation on their name as well. It's Aston Martin Aramco Cognizant F1 team. Oof. Okay, yeah.
Good luck saying
That's
that whole name
yeah.
anytime.
Yeah. I guess we'll get a bit of a fumble in terms of like the names. They might just like flip the title sponsors one way or another.
Yeah.
Let's just call it Aston Martin. Probably might just go that way. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, I
And
think driver lineup pretty solid. I'd say Stroll, if he's worth anything this season, definitely has to prove that he can actually be a top driver. We have seen how good he is in the rains. So maybe if there's a wet race or two, we might see his talent. We might even see him dragging the car all the way up to a race win or a podium. If it's not a top running team at the moment, um, yeah, I feel like they're just wasting their money. But
yeah,
historically, they have been the car, last time, right, as Racing Point and race not Racing India. I was gonna say Racing
Force
India.
India.
Force India, and then they became Racing Point, now Aston Martin. So historically, as a team, they have performed well. Despite having limited budget compared to the bigger teams. How much they were able to extract, performance-wise, to be top of the midfield most likely most of the time, despite having less budget than their rivals, spending less than their rivals on track. So a bit of uh, you know, technical, how to say, brilliance coming through from the Aston Martin crews.
Mhm.
Hopefully, they can turn that into something meaningful this season. Perhaps a top three car, I hope. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I would
it's been a
say
long while.
last year they were very much a midfield and almost back of the field kind of car. Like in terms of
Mhm.
performance, just really didn't go anywhere. And honestly,
And yeah,
driver
they
impact
blamed it.
also is not that high. I mean, Stroll isn't really doing much, and Vettel, he's as usual, having his spins and all that. So, unfortunately, I mean, I feel sad for saying this, but unfortunately, like, he hasn't really had that impact to the team. As what we had expected initially.
Indeed.
Hopefully, there'll be
Yeah.
changes this year.
Yep, and yeah, that's pretty much a wrap on Aston Martin. Four teams with the Ace. So, well, that's an ace for you
Now
if
let's
you
go to
play
the F.
poker. But the one and only F, and well, in 2020 they had a big F with the car,
Yep.
but last year was a real sign of resurgence, and this year it looks like the great Ferrari master plan is coming to fruition. And voila, I have my good Ferrari collection here from Shell. I'm just
Right.
missing one car, so Psycho. I'm just waiting for the trade. I have your 430 Scuderia ready. Just give me the car that I'm missing, and I'm good to go. Uh, so yeah, Ferrari. Well, I'm just if you wanna put it in a way, I'm just a fanboying for them this season. Um, hopes
I
are really high.
I
Hopes
mean,
are
yeah,
really high this
I'm
season.
also the same. I'm also on the same boat here. The just from the way the car looks alone, like I was really like
Mm,
blown away. It looks great.
yeah,
The design of
it's
the
out
car
with
looks really
side
great.
pods and
Yeah.
even the memes where it's like a pond. Someone like made a meme out of it.
Oh no, I saw
Uh,
like somebody made a comparison between the side pod and Eau Rouge
oh
in
yeah,
Belgium.
so it's like
It looks similar, the way it curves
looks
around.
like that. And also, how they like photoshopped it to become a pool, and Walter is just sitting at the edge of the on the
Oh,
side
okay, I
of
didn't
there.
see that.
So that's
Okay.
one as well. So yeah, but apart from that, I think the car looks pretty solid. Performance wise, we'll come to that again in the later part for the preseason. But it looks really nice with the color scheme this year. No more green mission win now stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
that
Santander is
that that
back with the yellow,
really ruined
the
the car
white.
last year.
hmm The white with the Santander, and then pretty much with just a bit of white here and there, and a splash of black everywhere.
Yep.
I think it's looking really nice. Driver lineup, yes. Uh,
I think it's a
of
very
course, yeah,
strong, very very strong driver
definitely.
lineup. These
Mm,
guys, both Carlos and Charles, they performed very well last year with the car that they had. You know, we knew it was going to be a struggle. Ferrari, I think, knew that from the start of the season, so they did bring in some upgrades towards the end, but yeah, it showed that it worked and they were going on the right track already. And yeah, I guess they spend most of their time focusing on this year's car, 2022 car, and it looks good.
look good.
The car looks like it's performing well, and the drivers themselves are very happy with it. Which is something quite rare, because a lot of times you hear on the radio, oh, we are looking. There's always some issue with the car, but yeah, the drivers are
Uh,
very happy.
there might be a bit more looking to be done this season because of the new cars, but
Right? Yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah,
uh, Charles, being the golden boy of Ferrari, obviously, he had a okay season last year, but a bit unlucky here and there, right?
yeah, with the
Uh,
whole Monaco thing and all
Otherwise,
that, especially.
mm, but we really saw a glimpse of the car's performance in some tracks and how the car, struggled a bit in high-speed circuits like in France. That's where really their weakness was exposed with the front tire limitation.
Mm-hmm.
But the next race in Austria, two races in Austria, and then Silverstone, that car was like, as if it didn't have any weakness in high speed circuits anymore. Um, Granted, it was still, not the fastest compared to its rivals like McLaren, who were faster in those kind of circuits, but they were up there in terms of pace at least. So, the turnaround in Ferrari, in the camp, in the garage, I think that's something to look out for also this season. With the new cars, the development rate at the early season is going to be very, very big, very quick. Upgrades will be coming in pretty much every other race for most teams.
Yep.
um, I expect them to have a good start, but if they are to struggle in some kind of circuits, they will definitely come on top of it come the next race or something. So looking forward to that. And Sainz, let's not forget him. His first season last year in Ferrari, big ask to drive alongside Carlos and drive alongside
Charles.
Charles,
Yeah.
and to actually beat him at the end of the season by points.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Exactly.
great achievement. Although I have to say, Sainz did have some luckier races compared to Leclerc's unluckiness in Baku and in Monaco, especially, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but otherwise, two strong drivers in a team. Uh, I feel if this car is really a championship contender, they have the right partnership going to at least secure a World Constructors Championship.
Yeah.
Uh, which will come to at the end with our little surprise at the end. We have something lined up at the end. Yeah, Ferrari Constructors Championship. Let's hope for it. Drivers, I don't know. It looks very tight this season because we are going in blind, so no idea yet. But definitely, um, I won't be surprised to see Carlos the champion if it were to happen between the Ferraris and then Leclerc is like just missing out on a few points. I just hope it doesn't turn out to be another Mercedes 2014 kind of issues lah in
Yeah. Yeah. I was just about to say that. Yeah, because these two, I
Mm,
mean, like exactly what you said. Like, it's like similar situation as Hamilton and Rosberg. They had
mm,
their own heated rivalry going on within the team, and so far the interactions between these two drivers, Carlos and Charles, it seems to be a very good relationship between them. Hopefully, it
yeah,
stays that way, and it works for the benefit of the team, lah. That's the main thing that
yeah,
they need to focus on.
yeah, yeah. So Ferrari, I think we have a lot to talk about throughout the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely be mentioning them every race. Don't worry about that, folks, because a day would not go by without us mentioning Ferrari in the podcast.
Yes, indeed.
Next up,
All right.
another
Ferrari.
Oh my God, hungry. Finding
Ferrari
a Ferrero
powered
Rocher here.
engine. Yeah,
So
you need some chocolate.
yeah, yeah. So another Ferrari powered team, Haas. Haas F1 team, just Haas F1 team now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the start of the season, season has not started. The preseason itself has not been the smoothest for them.
Yep. A
They did
lot of big changes
a
that
lot of
happened.
big changes. So first thing, last season, maybe we can start off from there. Like, they abandoned the development for that car right from the get-go.
Yep.
The car that they turned up with in Bahrain in race one, even in preseason, Bahrain preseason, right, last year. That's the car they ran for the entire season. No upgrades, no this, no that. And when we speak of upgrades, as in like, no improvement made to the car at all in terms of like dashboard or anything, different wing layouts or what. Of course, they do bring like different specifications of wings,
For the
the
track, right?
different races for the
Yeah.
track. But in terms of like upgrades to the specifications, nothing was done. So,
Mm-hmm.
if in a similar track, let's say two similar kind of tracks. You see one high downforce circuit and another high downforce circuit. They had the same spec, nothing changed. So totally abandoned 2021 development to focus everything on 2022. Hopes are that they actually had a good running because they were the bottom team, so they will
Yep.
have more wind tunnel time and CFD elements permittable. So they had the most of all teams uh, throughout the season to develop. So and they spent entirely on this new car. Definitely we are hoping that they at least in the top half of the field to start off the season and
Yep.
continue their form good and become the team that they were once when they first entered Formula One to be like at least the top midfield team.
Yep.
Definitely hoping to see that. And now with the driver lineup, as
Exactly. Yeah, I was just
what's
about to get
the
into that as well. So,
the juicy
yeah,
one?
so we had some big changes actually that happened between the testing
Say
rounds.
say it.
Yep. So we have Mick Schumacher partnering K-Mag, Kevin Magnussen. He's back on the
Yes.
grid.
Kevin,
So
suck my balls, Magnussen is back, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Magnussen is
that's a
back.
reference to
K-Mag
a
is back.
interview a couple of years back. Actually, it was
Yeah,
him and who?
between
Who?
him and Hulk,
And
they
Hulk.
had an
Okay. Yeah.
incident on
Yeah.
track, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
During the
so
interview,
I
yeah,
tell
he
you,
mentioned that. But yeah, so yeah, this is going to be a very interesting pairing. Of course, we have to mention this now, lah. So yeah, basically the whole issue going on now with Russia and the war and stuff. So it's overflowed into F1 as well, unfortunately, and that caused a major change for Haas because of course their title sponsor was
Eurocally,
Uralkali, and being a Russian company, so yeah, a lot of issues came up due to that, and also affected the fact that Mazepin, another Russian driver, he also was not allowed basically to race in Formula One
yeah,
anymore because of all this stuff going on. So Haas did the first thing that probably came to Gunther's mind is to call up K-Mag and yo, you want to get back the seat, you know?
uh, you wanna Fox Smash shine this contract?
Yeah,
Take it. And it's a multi-year contract. Very very interesting to note because that means they are definitely committed to him for at least the 2 or 3 years to come.
yeah,
And it's good to see him back because we definitely felt a bit painful when they decided to ex both Romain Grosjean and K-Mac after 2020 after the end of 2020 season, right?
mm-hmm.
Um, 21 started with Mick and Mazepin as rookies.
Yep.
So they were just pretty much driving blind. Their sole purpose in 21 was just drive the car for fun and develop the 22 car,
Yeah,
hoping
basically
that
just show up at the
yeah,
races and
right.
just do the best they can. Like I don't
Yeah,
think they had much. They probably knew that they didn't really have much opportunity in terms of like even scoring points and all that.
yeah. The one
So
thing they definitely lack was a team leader in that
yeah,
sense because when you have two rookies coming into F1, they don't have a single idea how to set up the car, how to run the car. Of course, the engineers are there to help out with, but driver experience is something that they needed. And now with K-Mac coming back, although it's new regulations, but he knows
that
how to steer an
experience.
F1 car, the experience of
Yeah, and he knows the
how
team as
you feel
well.
a car and the team, correct. So if you feel a certain thing in the car, it's like, okay, this is not feeling right. Okay, you can suggest a different approach to the setup,
Yep.
which may not know, and then may work out. So that's where the young drivers usually learn from the experienced ones.
Yeah, so that's why I hope this would be a very good opportunity for Mick to pick up on as well. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously we hope that he would end up in a team with a competitive car. We don't know how
yeah,
the car situation is going to be for 2022 yet, but this would be a good sort of learning ground for him as well to
correct.
to
And
really understand how to form the team around him and get the car working for him.
yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah, it's gonna be
Kevin
interesting.
alongside him, it's definitely
I
the
think it'll be a
yardstick.
fun combination between them because
Yeah,
like Mick is very like prim and proper, like he's very German, like, I would say. you know,
yeah,
and whereas Quebec, he's like the loudmouth. He's sort of like the more,
the elbows out and just
yeah,
go aggressive on battles.
yeah.
So
So
maybe that will
it'd be a
definitely
good
help
combo.
Mick also, to buckle up a bit more,
Yeah,
be more of a, like stamp his feet in the race as well, in the car as well. If assuming the car's like competitive enough to challenge for points and positions. So with Kevin there, definitely Kevin is the yardstick there, like the benchmark for the team.
yeah,
So if Mick can at least for the first half of the season, I must say, if first half of the season he can come close to K-Max pace or match him, that would be pretty good already. And then I want to see him do better than Kevin, maybe at least towards the end of the year, and be better than Kevin in the next season.
yep,
So that way, you can really start to see if he's worth being the Schumacher name in F1, and if he really deserves something special in the coming years. Other than that, I think Haas. Well, if it's a bit of a rough patch they're going through, but I think if the car is pretty good, they'll sooner or later they'll be attracting more sponsors already. Then so
yeah,
let's hope that goes their way, lah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, also in terms of the car look as well, I think Haas was also one of the earliest car reveals for their 2022 car. There was of course a change
Mm-hmm.
to their livery between the whole Russia thing that happened, but
Yeah,
honestly,
just remove the
it
stripes
looks,
back to
yeah,
white.
yeah, it's like white and red, basically no more. The blue has been reduced quite a bit,
Yeah,
but yeah,
so back to the good old Haas colors. Although they started off as gray, but they
yeah,
eventually transitioned to like white and red. So yeah, nice.
yeah, looks
Let's
nice.
see how they go on, and that's pretty much it for Haas. I think
Yep,
a
we'll
lot of
move on.
expectations for them. At least that's the least we can say.
Yep.
Mhm. Yeah,
Oh,
next up.
sorry, wrong. All
Okay.
right.
Oh, oh, too early,
You
too
jumped the
early.
gun. All right, yeah.
Well, speaking of jumping the guns, McLaren may have to, possibly think of replacing Danny Rick for the first race. So they already have a reserve lined up. Also, the reason why they may have to find a reserve is because Danny Rick unfortunately uh, came down with COVID-19 during the Bahrain preseason test,
Yep.
and with at least 1 week of mandatory
Quarantine and all.
quarantine, he will have to be quarantined till like end of Thursday. He'll Pretty sure he'll be fine by then. Um, but if
As a
he's
precaution.
as a precaution, just in case it's not fine, they do have some reserve lined up. They are sharing reserve drivers with Mercedes, so Nick De Vries and Stoffel Vendon, but both of them will be away this weekend from what I heard at some WEC, I think, or Formula E, I don't know, whatever, at Sebring in US. So they will be at Sebring doing their own race, so they might not be here. So Alpine, of all teams, have
Yep.
actually agreed to release their driver from
Yeah, third driver.
Alpine third driver duties this weekend, and assign him as a reserve for McLaren if they need it. So
Oscar Piastri.
that's something interesting. So Oscar Piastri may get a seat, although we are not really expecting that to happen, lah. Uh, but yeah, Derek hopefully gets back on track. Uh,
With
he really
his.
struggled last season because of the car's characteristics that did not really suit his driving style, especially under braking. The way he likes to brake,
Mm-hmm.
the car's aero performance, aero balance doesn't suit him and his driving style. Uh, so
Wait,
at least
did you watch Drive to Survive? Have you watched it? No.
what is Drive to Survive? Just kidding. No, I haven't watched it yet, but
There is quite a bit. I feel it's definitely blown out of proportion lah. But the whole
yeah,
rivalry between Danny Rick and Norris, but
yeah,
yeah,
it's a bit
apparently
exaggerated.
there's a lot of friction between them. But I think that yeah, it's just
Nah,
for drama's sake.
for the
These two
drama's
they
sake,
actually
man.
work quite well together,
Yeah.
and they play the team game as well. Like
Mhm.
especially like what we saw in Monza last year.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. And looking at their car again, I mean, they have like the kind of like Gulf livery, right? That
Yeah,
they
yeah.
run only as a one-time special in Monaco last season. But this time they're kind of making it more like a permanent livery for this season.
The orange and black.
So, mm, black? That's the blue. I mean, like a light blue kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Is
Light
it light
blue.
blue? I don't. I'm not exactly sure. That's the bluish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's like more
has
on the wing.
yeah, so it has the Gulf livery vibes there. But okay, it looks decent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as orange as we thought. It's a lighter shade of orange compared to last year. So not
Yeah.
so papaya, but
I was just about to
the
say that.
car looks good. Performance again, we'll come to it in a moment. But the driver lineup again, they are retaining their partnership. So Lando Norris being the possibly the golden boy for McLaren lah, put it that way.
Mm.
So he's expected to be like the kind of number one by the Deneric is no slouch either lah. If he gets the right car, which at the moment it doesn't look like it's gonna be that way for the first few races because they are struggling with some brake issues, which will again
Yeah.
we'll come to that in a while. Partnership wise, Asian, what do you think? How would they do this season? Looking at how things have
Um,
turned out this
I
year.
mean, yeah, I think like looking back at last year, since last year was their first partnership together, between Danny Rick and Norris. I think they work very well. Like what I said, like in Monza, they played the team game to make sure they got the 1-2. Of course, Norris is hungry for his first win. That's very apparent, especially in Russia
Yeah,
last year as well. But um, they do work well together. But I think that there may be some friction between them that might occur as we go on in the season, especially if Norris is feeling that he's being held back,
yeah.
due to whatever reason that may come up. But yeah, I would say they would be a pairing to look to monitor lah throughout the entire season. Like compared to Charles and Carlos, I would say that these two, I think I'm quite confident that they're going to be working together to develop the car and so on.
Yeah,
For Norris and for Ricardo, it might not be too happy-go-lucky, throughout the entire way. But yeah, it depends, I guess, on how each of them are
it definitely
performing.
also depends on the car, lah, I'd say, right? Because
Yeah, exactly.
Danny never really had the car the entire season in the previous season
Mm-hmm.
to go his way. Uh, but when he had it, he definitely showed why he can be a race
Race
winner.
winner. Yeah.
Mm. So yeah,
All
McLaren.
right.
Nothing much from them also. Just kind of a quiet season, preseason they had. But one team that didn't have a quiet preseason, and they are, I mean, to be fair, they're always loud in some sense or another. It's Mercedes, right?
Yep.
So driver lineup,
Of
the
course,
hottest boy
the
on the market,
and
George
the worst
Russell
kept
is in.
secret for their driver lineup last year.
Yeah.
George Russell paired up with Lewis Hamilton. So yeah,
Mm,
Russell basically took over from Bottas. Um, I guess the main thing between these two right now, how well are they gonna play the team game, or play
yeah.
the basically how well will they support each other in terms of the number one driver, number two driver. We know when Bottas was in the team, he played second fiddle almost,
Yeah.
the
Although
entire time, I guess.
contractually they are both equal,
Yeah,
but as the season progresses, you start to see when one driver starts to be consistently better than the other throughout the season or throughout first half of the season, you pretty much know the other guys like okay, you got to play the second man here.
yeah,
Uh, Same like Red Bull did with Checo and Max. We already knew that's going to happen uh, the entire season. So it's probably going to be like Hamilton versus Max that turned out last season. And then Bottas and Perez are going to be like the determining factor whether their partners, their teammate is going to be the champion or not. So that
yeah,
pretty much turned out also that way. So this season, George and Hamilton. Interesting lineup, I'd say, because if you have like two drivers with the number one mentality in a team, it kind of like goes back to the Hamilton Rosberg era,
yeah,
2014 to 2014, 15, 16. Uh, it can turn out toxic, but I think Hamilton has learned since that, and he has won 7 world championships in total. So he has won six since then, right? 2014, 15, and then 17, 18, 19, 20. He has won six during his years in Mercedes,
Yep.
seven in total. He's definitely hungry for more, although he wouldn't say he wants an eight, but he's definitely wants an eight and be like the GOAT for a reason.
Yeah.
Uh, if he gets an eight, I think he'll be happy, but he has 2 years of contract now, right? So
Yeah.
they have.
That's the other thing as well.
Mm,
I think in terms of the relationship between these two, if Russell knows that Hamilton is going to be heading out soon, anyways, like this, I guess next year should be his last year. Then, if contractually,
24 onwards, Hamilton may not be with us anymore.
yeah, may not
Mm.
be in F1 anymore. But
Okay, yeah, I said it wrongly in 2 minutes.
it
Like he's
sounded a
gonna.
bit a bit dark there.
Yeah. Uh, apologies for that, people. What I meant was he may not be in F1 anymore. He may hang his boots. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I think in that case, like if Russell is confident, or if the team basically confirms with Russell that, okay, yeah, you know what, you just support Hamilton for these 2 years, let him win his eighth championship at least, and then basically play the number two driver. I think Russell will be content with that. But if, let's say, that there's no indication of that actually happening, he might play his own game as well,
Yeah.
try and get
I
uh,
feel it's
as high,
going
as
to
many
turn
points
out
as he can.
something like Ferrari last season, where they have two drivers, performing neck
Mm-hmm.
and neck. But at the same time, they're not getting in each other's way. They are supporting each other, helping each other, and they
Yep.
let them race, yeah, and then make use of the situation and make maximize the team result rather than focusing more on a single driver.
Yep.
Well, that was Ferrari because they were not in like a drivers championship anyway, so their focus was always on the constructors, so which definitely helped their case. This season, let's see how it turns out for the Merc team. Whether they are still the top of the pack team, or if they are kind of like third or fourth car at best. Maybe they'll be focusing more on the constructors. That's where we may see more of a friendly rivalry between these two, like more of like a Carlos and Charles kind of thing.
Yep.
Uh, yeah, but with 2 years remaining to Hamilton's contract, I think they just want him to stay around for 2 years in this new formula of cars.
Try and get
Make
his eighth.
Russell is up to speed, and then Russell become the next number one,
Yeah.
and then rinse and repeat, I guess. So who will be the number two? I don't know. Ocon might come in. Gasly might come in. Tsunoda. I don't know. All the possibilities are open, right? Yeah, we'll see that when the time comes. But 2 years
Yep.
remaining for Hamilton, and a long-term commitment probably for George. We'll see if that turns out to be something that shapes up to be a future champion. Eighth world championship for Hamilton, I don't know. First for George, I'm not sure. Uh,
Potential is there.
Ninth for Merck, maybe not. But everything is possible. Anything can happen. We'll see when the time comes. Car livery,
Yep.
what do you think?
Livery wise, I mean, they made the change back to the silver, basically going back to the name Silver Arrow. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess it refreshes the look of the car lah.
Yeah,
They've used the darker gray or black livery for the past 2 years, I think.
yeah.
Now they're
Pretty much
going
full
back to,
black. Yeah.
yeah, now they're going back to silver arrows, literally silver color. So I think it looks okay. I mean,
Takes a
it
while. It will take a while to get used to it again because I definitely feel the black shade on the Mercedes was just super awesome to look at, to
right,
drive
right.
the car also. I mean, in races, league races, and what, like you see it in the Merc, it just feels special. But yeah, coming into this year, we'll see like the silver arrow again. So it's
Mm,
gonna take a bit of getting used to. Yeah, and yeah,
okay, yep,
hopefully, they get off well as well. Interesting to see if Russell can actually, keep up with Hamilton or even beat him on merit and pure pace. Would
yep.
be fun.
All right,
Yeah, next
moving
up.
on next to the team with our reigning world champion, Red Bull, keeping their
Mm,
driver lineup of Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. So yeah, no surprises there. Um,
yeah.
basically, I think we sort of already touched on this earlier as well. Like these two, they work well together and they play the team game as well. Especially Perez, usually Perez ending up being the second driver, but yeah, it's really depending on situation because of course Max is the kind of person that goes all out, and with the fact that his contract has been extended for the next 5 years, 5 or 6 years,
Until end of
20
2028.
twenty
Yeah.
eight, right? Yeah, so I think that was a clear indication to Perez as well that okay, you know what, we are going to be focusing on this guy. If you do happen to perform better, if your luck was better or what, then definitely we are, as a team, probably they're going to be supporting him. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think in terms of their relationship, I think they're going to be working well together, and they're
Definitely. I
they're
think
definitely going to be
they
getting
definitely.
they're going to be trading wins, if the car ends up being good as well. And
Mm.
yeah, I've got no further comment on the pairing.
Yeah. Again, I think 7 years of a commitment. I mean, he has won the world championship. Maybe usually that's on every F1 driver's like wish list,
Yeah.
the top of the list. Like win a championship and you're done with life. Like Rosberg was like, okay, I'm done.
Yep.
I won. I'm done.
I'm
So
out.
ciao, bye, and I'm
Mic
into
drop.
the Sky Sports team. And he dropped the
Okay,
mic.
drop the man
Yes.
and pick it up again.
Okay. Quite ironic there from him, right? But yeah, 7 years to commit. That means he'll definitely be around in F1 for a very very long time. Seven
Mm-hmm.
more seasons of Max and his brilliant racing.
Ha ha
He's
ha.
definitely, come on, man. He's a good driver. I mean,
No,
a
no,
bit
no.
of
He's no.
aggressive,
He's.
yeah.
I was referencing his. Yes, boys. Haha.
Yes.
The radio, the team communication.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I thought you were giving the sarcastic haha when I said driving.
No,
Okay,
no, 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 no. He's a
driving.
haha. Yes, boys. It's always the
Which,
same comment.
in our defense, it has been a question mark over his head for the past years, where he
Yeah,
was definitely labeled the aggressive driver. But
he was
if you don't be
almost the
aggressive,
new
mm,
Maldonado. I think people were almost making that comparison as well because he was
yeah,
involved in a lot of crashes, a lot of incidents.
Hamilton was like that as well in his early days. That's the thing people always forget.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't
In
be
his first year,
aggressive,
lah, at least in his first year, he was like that, lah. Yeah.
if you don't be aggressive, you're not really like, challenging for something good out there. And especially if you have a car that might be inferior on a specific weekend or throughout the season anyway. If you be aggressive, you can at least put up a defense or put up a fight. If you just yield the position like what Hulkenberg does all the time, he's not gonna get anywhere. So,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's Hulk, another story some other time. But yeah, Max, I definitely feel he's gonna still be the number one driver in the team.
Yep.
Uh, Perez will definitely play the number two, but when it comes to on-track racing, if one is faster than the other, pretty sure they'll let them race. If both are equal on pace, again they're gonna let them race, and we have seen glimpses of like pace from Perez that matches maybe even as good, slightly faster than uh, Verstappen in some cases.
Certain tracks,
Yeah,
lah. He's a bit more in tune.
last year in Kota, was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
For first thing he kept up with Hamilton and Max throughout the race, but after he had this like water leak issue, no more drinks for him in the
Yeah.
entire and for the next maybe an hour and a half. I think that definitely affected his performance. But given the car he had, and given his understanding now with the new car, he's definitely understanding the characteristics of the car. He's finding his own setup approach, and it's helping him as well.
And
So
also to mention his skills in terms of defense, like the whole defense that we saw against
yeah,
Hamilton in
yeah,
Abu Dhabi. Like honestly, to me, that's still one of the highlights of the race, like
yeah,
highlights of the season actually.
correct. And
The
then
the
I
way
think
he, yeah, the
yeah,
way he defended.
part of the reason why he was able to do that is I think it also comes down to his like like special trait. Like how like each cartoon character, anime character or game character has like their special trait or something, right?
Right.
Uh, my mind is going back to like Motorsport Manager game where you have like all these drivers you can buy. They have like their special traits. So some are good in overtaking, some are good in
Right.
time
Right.
management. Perez is the kind of guy who's smooth, has good time management. So
Yeah,
he's
his tire management is very very good
on
compared
top.
to Max.
Mhm.
Max just goes all out all the time. Perez, he's the kind
Yeah,
that can actually play according to the team required strategy, you know. So
yeah.
yeah,
To be
very
fair,
strong
I think
driver.
Max drives in a way that it extracts the most performance out of the
Yeah,
car, and at the same time, keeps him relatively in a good position, good pace overall. But obviously, when you have team like Merc also sometimes faster, sometimes on pace, then becomes more of a 1v1 on track. And yeah, so to have Perez there as well throughout the season definitely helped him. This season, again, we are starting fresh. Red Bull's definitely looking like a contender given that they are Adrian Newey is a god of aero.
yes, indeed.
If you expect some team to nail these new regulations, it should be them. Also, Adrian Newey goes all the way back to the 90s Williams, I think. That's where they had the ground
Yeah,
effect thing. So he was part of that team as well. And maybe, just maybe, Williams may find something, I don't know, from their old archives. So I saw a meme where it's like, the new regulations are coming, right? The ground effects are coming. So
mm-hmm.
Red Bull's like, okay, let's dig up, let's dig up Newey's books, and then Williams are like, hey, let's go ask Newey for some tips and dig up his archives or see our archives what they have and whatnot. So it's like one team trying to get the archives from one another and
Yeah, yeah.
see if they can make up something. Yeah. That aside, definitely feel Red Bull is looking like top contender here to start the season, and also after Max setting a blistering benchmark time in practice, although that's nothing. Yeah.
Any thoughts livery wise? Not much difference to be honest, right? I feel
Not much difference, I
yeah,
think, but they do have a change in their quote unquote change on their engine supplier in a way. They're still
right,
running the Honda engines, but now it has been converted to the Red Bull powertrains. So
right. That's what they're calling it now, right?
RBPT. So if you look at their name, it's like Red Bull RBPT, right? So it's basically Red Bull,
Powertrain.
Red Bull powertrains kind of thing. It's like you have Red Bull repeated twice in your name.
This is the acronym like RBPT, Red Bull
Yeah.
Powertrain, right?
So it's basically still the Honda engine, but there are Honda mechanics, Honda engineers that they have, like kind of taken them into the Red Bull Powertrains division and make it their own.
Yep.
And so basically, they're not really separated from Honda in a way. But now that Honda is out of the picture, it's up to Red Bull and the scraps, the remaining engineers to work with it. So if they can really keep that engine running in a good condition, I think they're good to go.
All right, cool. And we'll move on to the final team in our driver lineup and car review. So Williams having the combination of Nicholas Latifi, who stayed on from last year, and
Hmm.
of course replacing George Russell. We are welcoming back Alex Albon, former Red Bull
Yeah.
driver in 2020,
Hmm.
and now back. Basically, still he's still under Red Bull, like the academy, right, or like the driver
He's
program.
actually, yeah, he's still under the Red Bull driver program,
Yeah.
but
But with Williams being like under basically under Mercedes in a sense, like yeah, it's quite an interesting situation that
quite
he's
a
placed in.
interesting dynamic there, yeah. So they have allowed him on like very, very strict conditions, I think.
Yeah,
Uh, but possibly, maybe even some terms and agreements probably to, absorb Albon into the Merc teams maybe in future. That might be part of the contract, we don't know,
yeah,
because otherwise why would you let your driver to go elsewhere? So
yeah,
if
exactly.
if Red Bull really believe that Albon can be a good driver, they may actually pull him back. If not, if he finds his place in the Williams or in the Merc hierarchy, I don't know. Will we have a George and Albon in Mercedes in 2025? I
Yeah,
wonder. And then bring back all the virtual GP memes. George, no, George. uh, yeah, that aside, but good to see him back. And
Latifi as
when he said
well. I
he's
mean,
been
it's
he's been a mentor to Yuki last season, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
as well as a development driver for Red Bull. So behind the scenes, in the off times when after practice sessions, where you need to work on the setups in the FP1 to throughout the night, he was the one that's really behind the scenes helping them out and
He did a lot of work, and
contribute to the overall team performance.
yeah, and hopefully he'll. I mean, I guess not directly, lah, but hopefully he'll be able to bring that experience somewhat also over to Williams, because Williams, to be
Yeah,
fair, I mean they weren't, of course, they weren't the really a top team last year. They did do better than Haas, but of course Haas didn't even develop their car. But
yeah,
they had quite a good like quali pace, at least in terms of how Russell was performing, and race pace. If situations went according to plan, or if there's rain and all that involved, then yeah, they had the potential. They did score points, of course, last year, and yeah, they
yeah,
had the potential to at least be top 10. So hopefully this
yeah.
year, with the car performance itself being hopefully better than last year, and also with these two drivers who are now, I would say, quite experienced, especially for Albon. I think even though Latifi was with the
Yeah,
team,
4 years. Yeah,
for 2 3 years already, but I think Albon might be like the favorite driver there because of the fact that he was with Red Bull, and maybe
yeah.
that might sort of skew the team's direction to be more of his, like, to be more suited towards him.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, if
Let's
they
see,
if they do go
because
for that lah.
at this point we are like going in blind again, right, with these
Yeah,
two
yeah.
drivers. So I'd say if they turn out to be like a dynamic duo like Leclerc and Sainz, it's gonna be interesting because again when you have two like strong partner drivers, on pace on each other's neck. I mean not on each other's neck. I mean like as in like in a good way, like
Yeah, yeah.
each other's pace level, able to push each other to find the limit and break the limit. Like going into like anime territory here, find your limit, break your limit, and whatnot. But that's what really F1 drivers do. If you have a strong partner, they push each other to be the very best, and then that also helps with the car development. You find where the car lacks in performance, where you can improve, and also how you exploit the car strength as well. So that's something they both
Mm-hmm.
have to give a bit of credit to Latifi as well, um, because in at least in the second half of last year, uh, even throughout the season, he has at least done his bidding to keep up with George Russell, not too far off in the race.
Yeah.
Sometimes even better. He has done pretty well. Sometimes it's some drivers, they have like this slow startup, like a diesel engine, it's like phew,
Take some time.
slow
Yeah.
wind up. But once the engine starts running, it's like no stopping, and the momentum keeps going. So he looks like he's on a good roll. Probably he can carry that into this season. And with new management and all that, I think they're all settling in well. Albon as well. Um, I think his bad patch with Red Bull at one point when he was promoted, and then demoted within half a season. I mean, entire last season he wasn't even there, right?
Yeah. He
So
wasn't. I mean, yeah, he wasn't really demoted. He was just let go, basically.
yeah, he was just
No,
demoted
he was still
at
in Red Bull. He
Red
wasn't
Bull, but as
demoted
a
to
reserve
AlphaTauri, but
driver,
yeah, he was.
more of a development driver than a reserve driver, I think. But yeah,
Yeah.
he doubled as a reserve and a development driver. So yeah, he definitely helped a lot in the background, and that helped him to maybe regain his confidence from the back, take a step back from all the load that he had to bear
Mm-hmm.
as a Red Bull second driver at one point, right? So definitely we can see uh to be driving in a top team, you definitely need the mentality of a top team driver. And at that time, possibly he was not ready. Same as Gasly a year before. Gasly was not ready. When Ricardo left, right, Gasly was brought in, right?
Yeah.
So, Ricardo was okay there. He was always, on top. He was ready. Gasly was not ready for it. Albon was not ready for it. Checo was ready for it because he had the experience of, being in at least a top driving team, or, in a
He's
high
generally
team environment.
been in F1 for a longer time as well. So he
Yeah.
I guess is more adjustable lah, to the situation.
Yeah, the mindset also, like they say, right? It really matters.
Yeah.
So I think if he can build that up, he probably might have a shot at coming back at Red Bull one day or another. But for now, a season or two, definitely, it's gonna take a while before he's probably going back. Or he may just, be released from the Red Bull program, like a lot of other Red Bull drivers have been, but
Mm-hmm.
they are still affiliated. Like even Seb until today, although he's no longer a Red Bull Academy, Red Bull program driver, right? He's still affiliated to them, like in like a good terms. Like if they ever want him back, they said they will probably call him up.
Right,
Uh,
right.
but given Sep's recent performances in the recent years, I think they may not
Probably
look
not
at
gonna
him
happen.
primary choice lah. Yeah,
But yeah, in
yeah,
terms of the car itself, I have to say though, I think the Williams probably one of the better looking cars out there now. Livery wise, like the blue color just suits them very well. The dark blue mixed in with the lighter blue towards the rear of the car. I think
yeah,
it's a very good color combo. Similar
correct.
similar sort of blue to the blue that Alpine was using also, but this is more of like
Yeah, it's
ocean
the
blue
thing,
or
right?
sea
It's a bit
blue
of
kind of thing.
there's a lot of confusion gonna happen this year. Like we see this
Yeah,
blue, and we're like, oh, Alpine. Oh no,
it's the
it's
Williams.
it's Williams. And then we look at the pink Alpine. It's like, oh, there we go Racing Point. It's like, oh no, wait, no, that's Alpine, sir.
There's no more
And then
Racing
yeah,
Point.
so Racing Point, yeah. And then yeah, Ferrari, good old Ferrari, is gonna be red with a bit of yellow there, so that brings in a bit of the McDonald's jokes and whatnot.
Yeah,
Uh,
especially
yeah,
the suit that they, I mean the jersey that
yeah.
they wear. Yeah.
Although, actually, if you properly look at it, right, like the white shirt, the red shirt that they had, Leclerc had like a white stripe, I think. So that red and white kind of looks like a Monaco flag, and then Carlos had a
Oh,
yellow stripe. So red and yellow, that's a reference to the Spanish flag. So I think that's a cute little touch by Ferrari
oh,
there.
okay. Yeah, I didn't notice that actually.
But
Interesting.
probably people just made fun of it and to make some McDonald's jokes over there. Yeah. So yeah,
Yep.
that's a fun thing.
Yeah,
Williams definitely
that's
looks nice as well. That wraps up our first part of this thing where we go to
our driver lineup. I honestly thought this would take only about half an hour. We've already crossed 1 hour now.
yeah, I think we touched a lot on the drivers, but that's pretty much how it usually is. Like the driver, at the end of the day, will determine how the car is driven,
Yep.
which brings
And
us
now
to the car
we'll
itself.
Yep, the next session would be on the technical changes in 2022. So
Yeah.
this is going to be more of Dalvin's forte. I think it's more technical related. So Dalv, I'll let you take the floor with
Sure.
the technical regulations. Yeah, the new
Yeah.
technical regulations for this year.
Yeah, I'll take the floor, which is well, yeah, a good symbolic way because floor this season in F1 is where you'll generate most of the downforce with the return of ground effect. And yeah,
Right.
nice little pun over there. Intended or unintended, I don't know, but
Sure, let's just make it
uh,
intended. Yeah.
make it intended lah, I guess. So technical regulations. So these regulations have been it's not like overnight they just like decided, yeah, let's just change things up and screw this, let's try something new. These regulations have been well prepared, uh, well documented, well researched, most importantly, to improve the quality of racing.
Yep.
The issue we've had with the cars since 2014, more so since 2017 when this hybrid era started, right? 2014, 15, 16 was still okay. The cars were like, still racing with each other, able to follow. But 2017, once they introduced the wider tires and high downforce cars, lower wings and whatnot,
Yep.
uh, although that improved the lap times and whatnot, but it made the racing worse because the dirty air effect that you got from higher aero cars was so bad
They couldn't
that
follow close. Yeah.
2 seconds, if you're within 2 seconds of a car, at some tracks, you will lose a lot of downforce. The closer you get, you lose like up to 50%, 60% of your downforce on the front. That means your car is not getting the grip.
You basically become more slippery on the
Mm.
track. Yeah.
Slide around, and with the tires also being wider and thicker, right, at that time. So when you slide too much with the tires, it overheats the tires as well. So drivers can't attack.
Mm.
If you're out in front, you can your car is like good enough to keep the gap to the car behind in 2 seconds, pretty much guaranteed to win the race.
Yeah.
Of course, there were
Essentially,
some
the only way
downside.
like the driver at the back could catch up was via DRS. That was the only
Mm,
like basically overtaking opportunities. That's why if you notice last year, a lot of the overtakes happen in like a turn one of a track because of course the start finish straight is a long straight for drivers behind to catch up using DRS and make the move into turn one, and then they get stuck behind the other car for like another lap, and then they wait again until the start finish straight. It always like happens at the same corner basically.
correct. So that created a bit of an issue since like 2017. So 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 5 years of I'd say not bad racing, but definitely could have been better. Lap times are definitely like on record breaking numbers there.
Mm-hmm.
But racing has not been the best since 2017. So they did make like minor changes year to year. 2018 they implemented like I think was it like thinner tires, I think, to so that tires overheat less. Um, that although some people like to argue, even myself until today, I feel that's more of a move to help the Merc team back then, because they were the only ones that really suffered with tire overheating and blistering, whereas Ferrari on those thicker tread tires were like kings of the road. But yeah, that
Right.
aside, 2018 they did make some changes, to like maybe the front wing, okay, a bit of change of specs, and then 2019 they simplified the front wing and the rear wing as well, probably slightly higher air. And the 2020, they introduced this engine mode ban from Italian GP onwards, right? That's where we saw Pierre Gasly won his first race.
Mm-hmm.
So that also, kind of emphasizes more on the racing, where at least with equal, uh, with fixed engine modes for quali onwards. That means even if you have a slower car in the race, you can't just like defend your life out by just going with a high engine mode. So a bit more of a you know plan to improve the racing. So it kind of helped because we really saw like some teams who usually like Merc, right? They were generally they run high downforce in circuits so that they look after the tires, and then if they want to attack or defend, they just like push the car to 11 and defend.
Mm-hmm.
At this time it kind of made the approach better to the race, but still it didn't really fix everything. 2021, the only real change that they made for the season was to actually to reduce downforce, because the cars were getting a little too fast, and the teams did not want a change in the tire construction. And
Right.
Pirelli were like, telling, hey, the cars are getting too fast. We've had like blowouts, blah, blah, blah. If we keep this up, in 2021, the cars will not be able to handle the load. So the only way that, FIA could interject was to cut some downforce from the cars one way or another, and they decided by cutting an edge of the floor towards the rear of the floor. So
Right.
basically cut out a bit of like a triangular section of the
That's
of the
the batch
edge,
board, right?
the floor
Is it
actually.
the floor? Okay.
Yeah. So towards the end, right, where the rear suspension is. So yeah, let's just say this is the we have a replica car here, right? Right. So good time to show off. So there's a bit of like you can see this edge here, right?
Right. Right.
This
Yeah.
this square edge, right? So they make like a triangular cutoff so that that bit of the floor is no longer there. That means less downforce is produced through the car,
Mm-hmm.
and that means the cars will at least slow down about a second or two, depending on where you go, which track you go. So that puts less load on the tires. So that actually, was a good solution. Then, some teams are not happy because oh, this a move to disadvantage the low rate cars like Mercedes and whatnot. But in hindsight, we never knew that it was going to be that close of a season. Now,
Yeah.
all that is done, right?
Yep.
Uh,
2022
these
regulations.
regulations have been planned after looking at all these past seasons, all the small changes that we mentioned, they did not make the racing any much better in like a major step. It
Yeah.
was just small step to make it better, but still the issue was pretty bad. Like when you get within 2 seconds, 1 second, your car starts to overheat, tires start to overheat, you lose grip, and that's it. You can't save your tires also. And then once the tires like go out of the operating temperature, it's pretty hard to bring them in and get the optimum level of performance anymore. So these 2022 regulations, after running millions, I don't know how many, what are the exact numbers, thousand, millions of simulations
Yep.
by the FIA, they formed like a task force kind of thing to look into this, and they finally came up with this new set of regulations. So the first one is the uh, return of ground effects, which were banned in the 1990s, if I'm not wrong. The reason it was banned back then was because cars were getting too fast and a little too dangerous. The reason was because back then suspension setups were not as uh,
Not as good as
as
today.
not as advanced as today. Yes, correct. So if we look at the ground effect cars from back then, right? The cars were still like rocking like crazy because suspension was just very simple and basic, and for them back then was just suspension was just to control some basic things, and setup was not optimized back then. Now, obviously, when you look back 20, 30 years onwards, right? The suspension has evolved so much so that you virtually feel no bump on the car, or you don't see any bumping on the car while you're on board, riding on board, right?
Yep.
So that's how advanced it has been. So that, coupled with the return of these ground effects, is pretty much ensuring that the cars will not be as bad as last time. Where if you go over curve and it will just launch you over. So those kind of things will not happen, and we don't no longer have like the bent side skirts on the car, where they actually kind of like a rubber seal on the edge of the car. Again, I'm gonna bring this up. So it's like from where the floor sits right to the ground, there's a bit of gap, right? So they have like a rubber skirting. See, the car sits like this is the floor of the car, and then this is the road. So there's like a rubber skirting like this to
Right.
seal to seal the car, so
Between the
that
car and the
the
ground.
airflow. Yes, correct. So it seals the underfloor so that the air that is going under the car stays under the car, and they have like venturi tunnels down there. So if those who are some physics or science people here, venturi tunnels basically they are like a reverse uh, aeroplane wings, but under the floor.
Hmm.
So wings give you lift. If you
This one
flip
does the
it,
opposite.
it
Yeah.
creates downforce, all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it does the opposite. Venturi tunnels also, if you have done some, we have done some like lab experiments, you can see, you know, it's just basically some basic air pressure, air movement. So air is moving from like a open like an open tube, let's say, and then it narrows to a smaller channel that causes the air to go faster. When the air moves faster, it creates lower pressure in that area.
Yep.
So these machinery tunnels, their job is basically to create a low pressure area.
Hence
And
high
when you have a
downforce.
low pressure, yes, correct. When you have a low pressure area, it creates a bit of suction, uh, creates a bit of a suction effect, which means the car gets pulled downward. That creates downforce basically. Uh, so obviously the previous cars also they had some level of aero generated underfloor, but this year it's going to be exaggerated because of the venturi tunnels and whatnot. So that has a big effect in terms of improving the racing, because that the air that's passing through your underfloor, right?
Hmm.
And it generates most of the aero of the car. It's not affected by the dirty air coming out of the front car. So in previous formulas of car, 2021 and before, right? If you're following another car, that's like, you know, the clear air pathway is not coming to you, to your car, right? The airflow is disturbed. That means you're not getting the optimal amount of air flowing through the car to the front wing and the rear wing. That's what causing the loss of downforce. Now with rear of the floor generating most of the downforce, that means you are less affected by the dirty air.
Yep.
Uh, one very long explanation there, but that's pretty much
It's I don't know, I mean it's an important thing because
yeah,
as we'll see later on during what we saw, in the preseason testing, it definitely has a big effect. But we'll get into what that effect is
correct.
when we talk about the preseason tests. Yeah, but yeah, ground effect cars. I guess this is the major change for the 2022 car.
Yep. So along with that, there are some other technical changes as well to the car design. So
Yeah, we
our
have the wheels.
13-inch wheels, they have finally, grown up. They're 18 this year.
Yes.
We have 18-inch wheel rims, and not only that, the tire also, the sidewall. Uh, I mean, the rim is from 13, it became 15, 13 to 18 inches. Although I'm not representing it rightly.
Yep.
So imagine, so from 13, they are now like 5 inches wide, taller, right? In diameter, right?
Yep.
So 5 inches wider in diameter. So that also means the tires are overall going to get bigger. Previously, the tire sidewall, right? That means the gap from the edge of the rim to the edge of the tire was pretty big. That means they have a lot of tire, but it creates a lot of overheating and flexing. Um, Now, with the new tires, since they're 18-inch wheels, right? Rims are already 18 inch. So the tire sidewall is going to get smaller overall. But also
Right.
they have,
Okay.
actually given it a bit more space. So rather than the tire being the same height as before, the tire is actually taller than before. So there's rim is bigger, but the tire sidewall is still smaller than before.
So the thickness is lesser lah. The thickness of the
Yeah,
tire is lesser, but the overall size of the tire is bigger because of the bigger wheel.
correct. And
Okay.
on top of that, the tires are made to be more robust this year. So
Mm.
under any temperature, not say any temperature, they have a wider operating range. So you can
Hopefully no
drive.
more baku again lah. Experience
Yeah,
Azerbaijan happening again.
they are tougher, so they will withstand more load because these cars are expected to be beasts in high speeds. So these tires with thinner sidewalls as well, right? So they're going to be more responsive in high speed. The less tire, right? Basically, there's less tire that you have to push through a corner. The car is going to be a bit more responsive in high speed, which means
Right. Okay.
at the same time, the construction of the tire, the way the tire is made, the compound, right, itself, it's going to be less heat resistant and doesn't mean less wear, but what they mean is less heat sensitive. So once they overheat, you can still drive at a good pace to bring them down to a decent level, and you can keep pushing for longer.
The heat will dissipate faster lah
Mm.
compared to
And
previous.
bigger air ducts or bigger brakes basically.
Mm.
So we're gonna have a bit more uh you know s- cooling of the tires as well, and the front, all the tires actually, the wheel rims have a wheel
Yeah, they have a cover, right?
cover, yes, and that's mandated and kept as a spec part. So that means they can't driver teams can't develop that on their own. So it's a
Right. That's supposed to help with the aerodynamics.
yes, it does.
Okay.
So what happens is, when the let's take a car again. So this is the front of the car here, right? So when the air is coming, right, flowing through the brakes in the car, it cools down the brakes as well. The air escapes through the openings from the side of the rims. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
that on the brakes, pulls on the tire as well. But that creates some air turbulence, the dirty air that we speak of. The turbulence causes the following car to have less aerodynamic performance, right? Now,
Right.
covers basically what it means is it blocks the air from escaping through the rims, so it's just going to go through the brakes. So uh, that will help in cleaning up the airflow for the car behind. That means easier to follow another car that's in front of you.
I guess that sort of like fin thing that you see on the sides of the tires as well. That also supposed to help with that lah. To
Oh yeah,
clean
yeah,
the
correct.
airflow. Yeah.
There's a lot of funny names being brought up lah. So one of
Yeah.
the most brought up during the preseason was the wheelbrow. Like
The
eyebrow.
brow.
So
Right.
they call it the wheelbrow. That was like the most accepted name lah. People like, yeah, I feel it. The name they
Yeah.
they, they,
It
they
it
feel
it
it.
it matches.
So the wheelbrows, as they say, it's also a spec part. That the purpose of that is to control the again the tires, right? The the tires are also on the front of the car. When air passes through the tires, so it creates a bit of turbulence of air, right? So the
Right.
winglet that is on the tire, right? So this is the tire. They have a winglet here. So that's basically to redirect or condition the air in a way that it does not disrupt the
The
car's
flow.
following.
Yeah. So it
Mm,
smoothens the flow lah. So basically, it doesn't
correct.
create that turbulence. It
Yeah.
reduces the turbulence going
So instead, it
to the
will
back.
redirect it to like the side port of the car, the dashboard of the cars, and to the floor.
Actually, I
So
just thought about this though. The introduction of the wheel covers, the rim covers, I guess, would
Mhm.
that have any effect to pit stops in terms of
Maybe.
changing the tires and stuff? Because I would assume that it would be, of course, I mean there would be the needed locations for them to put in the what do you call that,
The jack and the nut,
the yeah, basically
the
yeah,
air, the air
the
jack,
gun lah, yeah, the
yeah,
gun
the wheel gun,
to
wheel gun,
wheel gun,
yeah.
yeah, wheel gun, yes, the wheel gun to remove the tire and put in the new tire and stuff. But do you think this might have an impact to the sub 2 second pit stops? Maybe
Uh,
this might not.
2 hours, no, not in any way. I feel because I think we've seen some practice pit stops right during the
The
preseason
test.
race
Yep.
tests in all the preseasons, right? There's pretty much like just a smaller gap now. It's like still there's a big enough circle there for the mechanics to put the wheel guns in and
Only Bottas
hold
might be
hold
shivering a
the
bit
car.
lah.
Maybe the Alpha team better get that right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that will not affect the pit stop in any way because it's that part is mandated, specified by the FIA, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what will affect the pit stop is the tires themselves and the cars
Right.
because this year, for as part of the improved improvement in safety regulations from year to year, right? Uh, the cars also have to absorb more impact, 48% more impact than last year on the front, and from the sides it absorbs about I think 15 to 20% more impact. So because of that, the cars are made heavier this year, for the
Okay.
safety protection and all. So minimum weight of the cars this year has been raised to 795 kilos without
Okay.
fuel.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. That's
without fuel, yeah.
without fuel.
And if you add in fuel, fuel maximum load allowed is 110 kilos. So say you go to a track like Canada, for sure you're gonna fuel up 110 kilos because that's like a power hungry track there. Monza as well, some
Mm.
some tracks that are just power hungry, you definitely fill up on fuel there. So add 110 kilos to that, you're getting a car that is 905 kilos already with full fuel load,
It's going to be over a
not
thousand.
including the driver yet.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Right?
It's
So
going
the
to definitely
drivers,
cross 1,000 kgs then.
mm, but the good thing is, drivers plus the car, they do have like a ballast limit, like they kind of like mandated this, right, to make it more equal, so that driver weight does not factor into like the central ballast weight.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that means
Okay.
if let's say your target is 900 kilos of weight, your
Just
car is
raw weight,
already,
not including
yeah,
fuel.
not including fuel. Maybe let's just put it maybe let's say your car once you made it right, it's 5 kilos, 800 kilos, right? All of the cars this year they are struggling with getting down the weight to the weight
Mm.
limit, so they are still definitely overweight. Um, let's say you made your car now it's 800 kilos, right? Again, at the center, right, where you see the drivers usually will sit, right?
Yep.
So the central area where the driver is, under that there will be a ballast to basically add on some additional weight so that the maximum weight of that ballast plus the driver will be 80 kilos, I think, if I'm correct.
Okay. So it
And actually,
balances out
that
lah.
may actually count into the weight limit as well, I think, with the driver, if I'm not wrong. So, yeah, I think that counts into it as well. So the car plus the ballast plus the driver, uh, that should come up to, you know, 795 minimum, I think. Or you can put maybe it's plus maybe 80 plus the driver. So 795 for the car, 80 for the driver plus ballast. So if your driver is like a, heavy donkey, right? So yeah, good luck with that. But most of the drivers, they are like pretty fit.
Yeah.
They just like fit under the limit. Maybe it might be 100 kg ballast. I'm not sure. I forgot this because it was implemented 2 years ago. But yeah, that definitely factors into it as well. So say you already have a car that's like 1,000 kilo out of the box with fuel, with heavy fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the cars are going to be very sluggish in slow speed, and given with these new regulations, they are heavier as well. Pit stops will definitely be affected by that. Uh, you'll probably need some very buff and swole jackman to
Jack. Yeah.
you know yeah, all the huge jackman, the memes, the Aston Martin's huge jackman that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You probably need like all those people working out in gyms to just lift the cars alone. That plus the heavier tires also will definitely slow down the pit stops a bit. I'd say we'll see consistently around the twos. Maybe at the start it might be like a 3 second ish pit stop, maybe
Yeah.
2.8,
Until
2.9.
they get it all sorted out lah. Get used
Mm.
to the new.
But we won't see like under 2 seconds anymore for now.
Yeah.
Not for now. Maybe in future, of maybe end of the season, if teams really get good with it, you might see sub 2 second, but 1.8 I'd say is no longer possible.
Mm.
Uh, Especially after the changes last season they made
Last
as well,
season. Yeah. Yeah.
right? To make it more safe. So yeah, pit stop definitely will be affected by that. And coming back to the changes that we have, right? We have gone through the ground effects and the 18-inch wheel rims, right?
Yep.
So that in a way, the ground effects help you to get less affected by the car that you're following. The wheel covers, the wheel brows, they help to condition the airflow so that the car following is not affected by it. And then we also have the longer front nose. That's also part of the safety regulation. One thing,
Yep.
with a longer front nose, you have a bigger crash impact basically. So again,
The
this
impact zone lah. Yeah.
impact zone comes down to basic physics as well, momentum and all, right? You want to make sure the peak momentum and the force that the driver is receiving at the end of the collision is reduced. So when you have a bigger crush zone, it takes longer for the force to travel, and the more it travels, the less the force gets. So even if you T-bone directly at 300 kph into a wall, the crash impact structure, now this year it's going to be able to absorb more, which means it will be able to absorb more impact.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, with a longer crash zone, it will ensure that the driver is safer. So that's the benefit as well. But in terms of aero performance as well, it generates like a lot more open area under the wing, so there's less.
Yeah. The wings are generally wider also
Mm,
compared to previous years.
yeah, and the
Both
rear
the
wing as well. Yeah, sorry, you're
yeah.
saying?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, okay. So I was gonna say the raving as well. It looks more curved, right? Curved
Yeah.
edges rather than sharp edges. That might just be like just some basic design, I think. The wing shape, that's the thing that has been mandated by this new regulation. So the shape has to be exactly the same, but you can definitely play around with your DRS flap arrangement. Some teams would like to have like the stand, right, to
Mm-hmm.
hold the rear wing. Some have it like twin swan, they call it, because it looks like a swan. So they have like two stands holding the
It's like
wing.
two
Some have a
hooks like that,
single
right?
wing. Ah, yes, hooks will be a better word to use.
Yeah.
It's more like a single stand or double stand. Again, it comes useful in different type of races. Um, but the overall shape of the wing, as you see, yeah, thanks for putting the image up. You can see the shape that has to be the same. And then on the rear wing as well, right? If you can show the rear wing again, there's like they call it a beam wing or a monkey wing or whatever they call it, a second rear wing, but it's positioned just slightly above the diffuser or somewhere in between, you know. That
Okay.
again is to make sure that the airflow that is coming from the front of the car when it goes to the rear, all right, instead of like being pushed down towards the rear of the car and disrupting the flow for car behind, it's pushed upwards and away from the car that is following. So that makes sure that the car that is following, they get a cleaner airflow, which also again helps to improve racing. And
Okay.
so far from driver feedback, it has been much better. Now, the change that is really we'll see really slowing down the cars would be the simplification of the suspension setup. um, this one, it's very complicated because suspension system, they have like, the upper wishbone, lower wishbone, it's just the mounting how they choose to, right?
Right.
And then there's also the dampers, where the shock absorbers, basically what that's another word for dampers, right? So I believe they have removed the third damper from the suspension setting, which means now your suspension is not able to absorb as much impact as before, or
Okay.
absorb as much bump as before. Plus, with the tires being thinner, right? The tire wall being thinner and stiffer, right? The tires can't absorb much of the forces from the road. So if they run the same old soft suspensions, the car is just gonna wreck itself.
Right.
Basically,
Yeah.
touch any curb, even if you don't touch any curb, you just go over a bump, your car might just boom, like in Bohemia in China 2010, I think. This the tires will
The tires
just
just flew
go off.
off.
Yeah, so the load will be that much because it's too soft. So now they have to stiffen it. That means teams are forced to run stiffer suspension on the front and the rear as well, which will affect their slow speed performance. Because when you get stiffer suspension, the car is not really uh, compliant. It's not really responding to your inputs. So in slow speed, we are definitely seeing a dip in performance. Spain, Sector 3,
Mm.
Bahrain, throughout all the slow sections, you can see the cars are like just understeering, like, just not turning in as well as they want. So slow speed corners, maybe when we come to somewhere like Baku, Hungary, Monaco, right? This is the slowest of them
It's
all.
slow. Yeah.
It's gonna be very slow. These cars are probably gonna be like 3 seconds easily slower than what they were capable in 20 or 21. So that will be a good thing to look at also, how these
Mm.
cars overcome those challenge. It won't be long until they find some, loopholes
Loophole.
or tricks. I say loopholes because it's still it's still early days in the regulation,
Yeah,
right?
no, I think loopholes do make sense,
Yeah,
especially with like teams like Mercedes and Red Bull. That's definitely what they're trying to look for. Try and
yeah,
circumvent the rules that are being set. Yeah.
correct. And now with the with the reduction of or more like, no, not reduction, more like the focus shifted to the underfloor of the car to generate downforce, right?
Mm.
Which means in slower speed, the front and rear wing, they are not working that well. And also with the tires being, you know, not say smaller, they have less sidewall, right?
Yep.
And
Thinner
less
lah in a sense. Yeah.
thinner sidewalls, right? So there's less tire gripping on the circuit. Suspension dampers have been removed. The third damper, that means there are still dampers, but two only are there. The third one has been removed. So overall, it has made the car to be less compliant in the slow speed. Um, so that will slow down the cars overall.
Mm.
But in general, I think if we go to like some high speed tracks, we may even see record times, probably in Spa,
Monza.
um, Monza maybe, because these cars are also less draggy now, right? Because
Yeah.
of they produce less drag.
We likely will not see the traffic jam at Parabolica anymore after this. Hopefully,
Uh,
hopefully.
maybe.
Yeah.
We can't be so sure over there, but tracks like Spa, I'd say definitely we can maybe see some record times being broken there. Silverstone, possibly another place that we can see record times being broken there.
Mm-hmm.
But mm, what other track? Jeddah, maybe. It's also pretty high speed there. we may see some
Jeddah, I'm
rec-
still worried about Jeddah. I hope only the records are broken and nothing else, you know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I hope that's the case. They have actually made some like visibility improvements as well. So hope that
Yeah,
comes
it's
into
sorely
this.
needed.
Hmm. What are the tracks I think like that are really high speed this season? Not sure, but
We don't know about Miami really though. But I think Miami they have the long straight, but
uh,
most of the track is slow corners.
mm,
Looking at the layout lah.
track.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a new track, so we don't have a reference for that. So this year's
Mm.
cars will be a good start. But looking at every other track, I'd say in slower speed tracks, it's going to be slower. In high speed tracks, Spain, yes, correct. Spain is the one of the highest high downforce circuits. There, we might see the cars maybe matching last season's performance solely because of sector one and two. But come to sector three, the cars might be a bit slower. So overall, might just be neck and neck.
Mm.
Silverstone as well might be neck and neck. Um, with the cars being less draggy, I won't be so sure to jump on the train, the hype train that we will see record times in Monza, but we may come close to the absolute best time that we had, the record time that we had from Hamilton in 2020, I think.
You're right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
pretty much
I
the
think those are
tech.
the major
Yeah,
the
all the
major regulation changes.
mm.
Alright, cool.
That brings us to
I'll I'll give you a bit of rest because you're pretty much talking the past half an hour continuous.
oh
But
sure, man.
yeah,
That's no worries.
I'll move on to the next section of what we've planned to go through as well, which is actually the preseason testing that has run so far. Yeah, basically the two preseason tests that were planned, the first being in Barcelona and the second being in Bahrain. So yeah, feel free to chime in, Delph, at
Oh
any
yeah,
time.
I'll let you speak for a moment now, because testing. I think yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
things right to look at. First
yeah,
of all, Barcelona is more of a shakedown test they call it lah because it is new regulations, right?
yeah.
Not only we do have two preseason tests usually, right? Preseason one and two, but with this new budget, I think supposed to be only one preseason test, but because we have new regulations, they've made the first one more like a shakedown. Second one is like the official
The
preseason
actual
test. Mhm.
test. Yeah. But yeah, so one of the big things that we saw in Barcelona, I think almost all the cars they were basically running this thing that you see over here in the image here called aero rigs. Is basically data gathering systems that are used to determine the aerodynamic, the flow and the forces of the car. So this was actually being used by pretty much all the teams, if I'm not mistaken. Like the one that you see here is for the
Always true.
front wing, the effects of the aerodynamics from the front wing on the Williams, and on this next image, it's the effects at the rear wing side for the Ferrari. So all
Uh-huh.
these aero rigs were being used. A lot of fast times being set as well, especially on the first day by Lando Norris. He actually set the first fastest lap in this new car. He wasn't too happy that he ended up being being the one to set the fastest time, because he sort of felt that it gave a indication to how the pace of the McLaren was. But it was still a good time lah, basically, that he managed to get. And it was also good to see the effect of these changes to the cars. Another thing also that we saw, a lot of cars actually had this neon paint on the fronts, like on the front wings or the side pods of the car as well. This is also to help see the aerodynamic flow, the
Yeah,
effect, yeah, the effect
correct.
of the aerodynamics on the car itself.
It's basically these aero rigs, right? Obviously they don't run it in races,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, it's for data
Otherwise
gathering. Yeah,
it's gonna be like like more like a demolition derby than a race because they're just going
yeah,
around like cutting down cars. Flashback to some cars one, cars two scenes. Where it's like a demolition there. But yeah, these aero rigs are just basically metal, sheets, you must say, more like a fence, right? And then they
yeah,
have sensors in each of the grid. This measures the airflow. And like you said, it's to correlate with the findings that they did in the wind tunnel and the CFD simulations, right?
Mm.
So it's to check whether what they simulated in those conditions they correlate well in the real circuit as well. Because in the wind tunnel you can't be having bumpy surfaces, otherwise your
Yeah,
the surface is gonna get ripped
you won't
instead
get
of getting
accurate
cells,
results.
right? Basically, uh, and then in CFD you can only do so much in terms of simulating what the real conditions are gonna be, um, or when it actually got on the real circuit with different conditions throughout the day, different days, even different conditions. That's why you really start to understand the different characteristics of the car. So that's what the teams are really trying to do in past seasons, because the car is just carry forward from another year to another, develop extra, same tires, so they pretty much have the same data already. Now this is start fresh now from zero,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they have to find out everything, which is a good reset for the seasons to come. Um,
Yep, indeed.
Mm. They also use the green green paint or something like that. It's called a flow vis paint, flow visualizing paint. So although it's shortened to flow vis,
Yep, flow is, yeah.
so that's basically like just like an oil resin kind of thing with a bit of a paint that does not dry up very fast, and then they just splash it over the car, and that's like the cheapest way, actually cheapest and most efficient way to find out if your car
The
is doing well aerodynamically. So
Yeah,
just go
it gives
out.
like a visual indication. Basically, it's very easy to see the result. Like, if you use the arrow rakes, you gotta like plug in the sensors to your PC and
Yeah,
read the data from there. Whereas here, you literally just see it. Okay, this is how it's being. This is how the airflow is around like the left side of the wing, or on the side of the car and all that.
yeah. So they use usually those in combination, I think. So aerobics, they have definitely some purpose. Maybe
Yeah.
at different speeds they can go for it. Flowways is just basically they just go on like normal race times, 1 or 2 laps, and then they see how the of the flow of the airflow basically is going around the car. So if they get like smooth flows, like you can see like very smooth lines, the car is behaving well arrow wise. But
Mm-hmm.
if you see like all like disrupted lines, squiggly lines, there's probably something wrong with your arrow configuration. So they'll definitely like go back to the sims, to the garage,
Yeah,
the CFDs, and test that out. Yeah.
but yeah,
But one
the
issue though,
uh
I said thought you wanna talk about it, the issue that every cars had in preseason, something new that we haven't seen in 30
Yeah,
years.
exactly. Yeah, that's why I actually have a picture lined up. Basically, the buzzword from the entire test session, for both the test session that we had in Barcelona and Bahrain, the main buzzword that if you've been keeping up with the news, on all that's been going on, porpoising,
Yes.
or what it actually what the name actually comes from is from an animal called a porpoise, which you can see right here. It's
Mhm.
basically a very
Dolphin like.
derpy looking dolphin, I
Yeah.
would say. Very, very chubby dolphin, small, a mini chubby dolphin.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is basically called a porpoise, and the whole talk about porpoising, it's actually named after the movement of this animal. And when I say that, you can view it right here. Basically, the car is just bouncing up and down on the track, especially on
Yeah.
high speed start finish straights and high speed straights, right, essentially. This is basically happening because of what we mentioned previously with regards to the ground effect. What do you call it?
Ground effect.
The car being a ground effect
Yeah.
car, like what Dolph had talked about earlier during the technical regulation sections. The aerodynamics of the car, basically, the air is being forced underneath the car through the whole what do you call it? The Venturi channel, right?
Triangle.
Venturi
Venturi
tunnel.
tunnel.
Yeah, Venturi tunnels. It's
During the downfall.
basically yeah, it's basically causing the car. It's basically giving the car downforce, causing the car to go further, closer towards the track, to the point where it essentially touches the track, cutting off the airflow, and that
Downfall.
releases the downforce. It basically, yeah, it works in the opposite direction, where it doesn't it cuts off the airflow and releases the downforce, causing the car to go back up again, and it repeats the process. So it
Yeah.
essentially that causes the car to bounce up and down, like what you see is going on with the Ferrari here. This is Carlos Sainz Ferrari. The car is just continuously bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down on the long straights, and this has
Mhm.
been a big issue that has plagued all the teams essentially. Yeah, basically all of the teams have had this issue come up during the first round of tests in Barcelona, and also come up again in Bahrain as well. Some teams have found ways to reduce the effect of this porpoising, because this one major impact of this is it's stressing up a lot of different parts of the car. It's introducing sort of new stresses to, like the suspensions and so on, that the car is not used to taking, especially if it's going to go a long distance in a race. And of course, it's also going to have an effect on the drivers. They are literally bouncing up and down in the car. Yeah,
Doing,
exactly.
doing, doing. Exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's funny to see that on from the onboards, they're like their head is just like
yeah. There was
level
one
or
from
level, like,
Gasly. I was trying to find a GIF for that as well, but I couldn't find a GIF for Gasly. He was literally like headbanging, he was like
yeah.
at some concert, like, whoa, just going crazy.
Yeah, in addition to to those things, right? Like I think additional damage can be taken or can be sustained by the floor of the car, because that's the part that that's
Yeah,
touching
that's
the
touching
car,
the track. Yeah.
right? The flat surface, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Alfa Romeo in their first day in Spain, first day testing in Spain, they had a pretty poor day because of that. They had a damaged floor because of that, and they had to fly in some new parts for the
Mm.
second day just to fix the issue. And it was somehow better, but all the teams, they were surprised by how much of a big issue it was for
Yep.
the practice, because in simulations again you can't reach that level, because when you're running in the wind tunnel, your surface is flat,
Yeah.
right? You don't have a bumpy surface, or you don't really run like full speed or something. You just run like certain speed, constant speed, just to test the airflow and whatnot. So those things you can't really simulate or find out in the wind tunnel, but you can sort of like get an idea if that may happen. Last encounter was about 20, 30 years ago, back when the ground effects era was there.
Yep.
That time was very even worse lah. Solution though, there's plenty around. Probably all the these brilliant engineers, they will figure out something. The simplest way that they have suggested is all easily to raise the right height of the car.
Yeah.
So basically the gap between the floor and the car, right, on the surface of the track, right, that's called the right height.
Mm-hmm.
So normally you'd want to run lower right height for better performance. That will gain you lap time as well. And that's sometime in why you see some sparks coming from the car during
Yeah.
qualifying or races when
We
they are
saw
like,
we saw that quite a lot, especially during the past 2 years. I would say the right hand has been always lessened,
yeah,
and that's why it causes a lot of sparks coming out.
yeah, that's normal though. But a bit of sparking, that's normal. Because some surfaces of the track are a bit bumpy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if your car is like just scraping through the floor, always just like you know that means you run your car a little too low. And when you run your car a little too low, you are bottoming out in high speed as well.
Mm-hmm.
So normally teams do find a balance, but this time the sacrifice has to be like, if you raise your ride height, it will reduce the porpoising effect, because you have a higher ride, and the car will, when it bottoms out due to the max load that you take on the straights, it will still have some space left on the straight.
Yeah.
So it
It
will
won't
not
completely cut off the airflow. Lah. There'll still be a gap.
so it will not bounce, but throughout the rest of the lap, you will lose a bit of aero performance, like maybe a bit of a downforce in some sectors. So
Yep.
that's the compromise that teams will have to take if they can't find any solution. Obviously they're going to try something. Suspension also, you know they've said, maybe if we have active suspension back, then it will all be solved. Obviously then F1 is not going to do that, because it's just going to take away the element of, like, engineering brilliance from these teams. It's a whole new issue and solution that the teams have to find.
Right.
So yeah, if they can manage to control the porpoising, then I think they'll start to look for performance in other parts of the car. And looking at other racing series, Ross Brawn has mentioned, like, there's like LMP cars, GT cars, even, or other racing series, right, that are solely focused on like ground effects as well, especially the LMP1 cars, right. uh, they are also heavily relying on ground effects. So, but they don't have proposing issues nowadays because they are well into their regulation for many years.
Right. It's already been
So
weeded
they
out
know,
lah. The issue has already been sorted out.
yeah, so they know how to overcome the proposing effect without sacrificing performance. So there's like few ways around it with the car
Mm.
setup and whatnot. Some maybe improvement to your aero balance as well. How you shape the flow of the airflow around the side pods and all to make sure your car is perfectly sealed. The underfloor effect is maximum without proposing. So only about time I think we'll see this issue being resolved. So yeah,
Yep.
hopefully that probably before the season ends. Otherwise, I'd
Oh
say the
yeah, I think
big.
definitely probably by mid-season this issue should be sorted out already lah.
Mhm.
Especially if it's going to be if it's going to have an impact to to driver safety as well. Like if it's actually going to have like physical issues to drivers. I think the FIA would definitely want to make mandatory changes for all the teams to ensure that it doesn't have any major impact to the drivers.
Yeah. Other than that, though, I think there were just some minor issues, wasn't it, in for drivers in the first shakedown? How did it look like?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I guess like the whole porpoising thing, that was the main thing that really affected everyone lah essentially. But in terms of team performances, one main thing to highlight, Ferrari were doing very well in terms of both
Oh, yeah.
reliability and also their speed. They had very good performance. I guess we'll just bunch up both the Barcelona and Bahrain together lah, in a sense, since
Yeah.
we are going quite long already. But yeah, overall, Ferrari performing very well, which is very good to see. They have this porpoising issue, but in terms of their reliability, they are performing much better compared to other teams. I would say the team that I personally have seen to have the most issues would be Alfa Romeo.
Mhm.
In both tests, especially in Barcelona, they had a lot of reliability issues. Uh, Zhou Guanyu also being the new driver, he didn't really have much test time. He actually beached the car in the gravel in
Yeah.
the in Barcelona, and also Bottas also didn't really have much. Bottas also had, I think it was a hydraulic issue in Bahrain, and that also caused a lot of time to be lost in terms of getting
Right.
valuable data.
A lot of reliability issues with
Mm,
Alfa Romeo at the start.
yeah,
That does not mean they might be the worst team outright, but reliability definitely plays a factor into if you
yeah.
finish the race or not, and that's
And
points
especially
in.
going into Bahrain, with Bahrain being the first race, because like one another thing to highlight would be the performance of McLaren in Barcelona. They were doing very well.
Oh
They
yeah,
being Norris,
work in high speed. Yep.
yeah. Both Norris and Ricardo were doing very well in Barcelona, but then in Bahrain, obviously, it was Norris alone because Ricardo was unwell, is unwell at the moment.
And also, key difference I think we noticed like in Barcelona they were very good. So they seem to have like carried forward their cars characteristic of like performing well in high speed, being very aero efficient with that. High speed is like kind of like their thing. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't see McLaren performing in high speed, something's wrong. But in Bahrain, where braking performance is really a
Yep.
indicator there. Slow speed performance.
I think
Uh,
McLaren is having
they
that issue
definitely
right
have
now.
some issues.
Yeah, in
Uh,
Bahrain.
on the first day itself, brakes were not going well, and the entire 3 days, well, despite being only Lando running the car, there was no like significant improvement. They have partially solved it, they said, but they have to wait till the first race, which is coming this weekend.
Yep.
So for some upgrades to come in to actually fix the issue. Will that actually fix the issue? We are only time will tell because well, I don't know
We'll only
if
know
that
during the practice
braking
sessions.
issues if the braking issues are persistent for quite some parts of the season. I don't see McLaren being anywhere close at the top because uh, Danny Rick, he will struggle, I feel, in this car if it has braking issues.
Right.
Otherwise, if they manage to fix it and whatnot, they have a good shot.
Yeah, they have a car
Mm,
that has the pace. Yeah,
yeah.
other than this braking issue, I think reliability wise also they are quite strong there.
Mm. And then
Um,
bringing in some upgrades, I think some cars coming into Bahrain, they brought some upgrades. Like Mercedes introduced their, I don't know, you can say like zero pod design, sideless,
Yeah,
side
actually, yeah, I was going to
side pods.
go into that as well. The the zero pod thing. Yeah, there were basically two major changes I would say out of both the testing rounds that we had in Barcelona and Bahrain. First, of course, the changes with Haas. In between
Mhm.
Barcelona and Bahrain is when the whole Russia issue thing happened, and basically Mazepin was involved with the Barcelona test, but was already out by the time the Bahrain test started, and Magnussen was in. So that was a big shakedown for the team themselves because there's a big change for the driver lineup, but also the fact that Magnussen managed to set the fastest time on the first
Yeah,
day in Bahrain. That was a surprise. I don't think anybody was expecting that.
yeah. I think maybe some, a bit of track evolution as well at that time. Also
Mm.
because their shipment
On the
from
second day, actually, yeah, he said it on the
their
second day.
shipment was delayed to Bahrain, right? Their car shipment,
Yes,
their
correct.
freight shipment is delayed. So
They had
FIA
extra
sort of
time.
like extra time given. So 2 hours in the first day, 1 hour in the next day, 1 hour the third day. So with that extra running, I think that's where they maybe
Got a bit
just
of
decided like
advantage.
yeah, probably decided like let's just make use of this time, do some runs. Maybe they were just testing on the power unit and some giving back the data to Ferrari and whatnot. Maybe not. I don't know.
Hmm.
But good to see that the car is at least
It's
reliable
yeah, and it's
and running
performing
well.
better compared to what we've seen last year, like, in a sense.
Yeah.
At least they are sort of challenging for the top times. Even
Mm,
Mick setting the second fastest time on the third day in Bahrain, just behind
right.
Hamilton. Yep.
Mm.
And for the Williams,
They're
there was
looking
quite a
okay.
big incident in Bahrain for Latifi.
Oh
There
yeah,
is,
I think I was watching that as well.
I mean,
What happened?
it literally just exploded like that. Like the rear
Mm.
brakes just like, poof, you know. It was a
Yeah.
very weird
He had
accident. I
some
think.
issues
I mean,
with the
not
brake.
accident, but yeah, it was
Probably
a weird
he might have like
incident.
overheated his brake on the outlap,
Mm.
and then he tried to cool it down by going fast. So because with the air, at least it extinguishes the fire, but the fire was not going off,
Mm-hmm.
and as the fire kept enraging on the rear wheel, it just melted the suspension basically.
Right. Yeah. That's why
Melted.
his
It just
rear. I
broke,
think.
and his tire broke.
Yeah, we can see like the rear tire just like, oh, just suddenly just went off
And that also
alignment.
caused the tire to actually explode. Not really. Was it explode? No, not like in a way, but it probably caused a puncture within the tire itself,
Mm.
and that's basically too much air pressure from the heat, and the tire just went poof for a while. So, but I think that was just a small issue, maybe just a small error in the configuration of the car or something. But I think that aside, I think they're looking really good, really great on the track.
Yep.
Red Bull though, I must say,
Yeah. For Red Bull,
really good.
Red Bull and Merck. Basically, it's a Red Bull. I mean, I guess they've just been performing well
Mhm.
throughout. They did had a couple of incidents. I think Perez had some issues in Barcelona, but yeah, as what you said, Barcelona is just a shakedown. The main result we can see in Bahrain, but yeah, Red Bull were quite consistent, and reliability wise also the car didn't really present any major issues in terms of like brake issues or anything like what we've seen with other teams.
Uh, yeah.
And yeah, the other thing also, of course, with Merck being the fact that they had a major change going into Bahrain with the zero pod zero what
Zero
names are
Poland, whatever you call.
yeah,
Yeah.
basically no side pods on the car, which was a very very surprising twist. I think yeah, none of the teams expected that.
Mm. It's
And
interesting concept there because it tightens up the overall packaging of the car, but it also risks some overheating issues. But
yeah,
they have like a few ways to cool down the car and whatnot. Maybe they figure out a way. They're trying something less draggy. It also creates less drag on the car, right? So maybe they want a less draggy car at the expense of they can chuck on more downforce for the car and compensate that way.
yeah,
Maybe that's what they're going with. But
yeah,
still I feel
if you see on the
the
stream
car
right
is
now,
struggling a
the
bit.
comparison is
Mm-hmm.
actually like a merged photo between the Ferrari and the Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because the Ferrari basically has a wider side pod and the Mercedes almost has no side pod. And
Correct.
it's
Yeah.
very it's very apparent to see. I don't know whether if it's big enough on stream to see it properly, but it's very
Mm-hmm.
apparent to see the difference between these two.
Correct. Yeah. It's interesting to see that the old. At first, we thought with these new regulations, everything being prescriptive, right? It's gonna be same ish cars, meh, but teams have come up with like different interpretations of the car. So different side pods, different
Yeah.
front wing, the shape, how you shape it and whatnot. And towards the rear as well, the diffuser, how they've made it, and side pods, floor barge pods, whatever they call it. Everything looks different. So no two teams have like the same design per
Mm-hmm.
se. But sooner or later, I think when they find out like which team is faster, which design is faster, they will converge on that route towards the end of the season, and maybe there'll be like two or three different you know like meta, you can say, or
Right. Right.
like a development preference that works out well in this formula of cars that we will see throughout the entire era. So yeah, maybe that's going to be a thing. But in terms of performance, I think so far Red Bull definitely look
It looks
on
strong.
top form.
Mm-hmm.
On their soft run that Max did, car looked very stable and very planted as well. Like no issues. But then again, it's still practice. Merc though, I still feel they are genuinely struggling this time. Uh, all every time they say like we don't think we're going to be fighting for race wins, but this time
Yeah.
maybe, just maybe, I feel they're actually in trouble because they don't look like they have solved the issues that they have um, since the start of the season. So a bit of porpoising as well, um, some performance issues in the slow speed. Maybe they came up with this zero point design to you know circumvent that in a different approach.
Mm-hmm.
You have less drag on the car because of that, so you are able to bump up the downforce that you produce. So maybe that will overcome their issues as well. Maybe that's the thing.
Yep.
So
Even
Ferrari as well.
Hamilton himself saying that he thinks that Ferrari looks the strongest, and probably Ferrari are the one who are going to be challenging for the win in
I
Bahrain.
genuinely
But
hope for once Ferrari are like the quickest, or at least like in the top range
yeah,
for the win.
honestly,
But yeah.
just Ferrari on the podium will make me happy already.
Correct, correct. And yeah, that will bring us the end of the pre-season testing. We are done with the
Yes.
pre-season testing, which means we're only a few days away from FP1. And
Yep.
ahead of FP1 this season, this whole season, we will be having like technical showcase kind of an event, which means all 10 teams will have to show off, like pretty much do like a showcase of their car in the
Okay.
pit lane. So they bring out the cars, park it outside, in the pit lane, I think in the slow lane or the fast lane, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have all the technical directors or maybe some chief engineer or someone. They will explain, what are the new things that they have brought into the car, what are the upgrades that they have brought. Uh, I feel
Right.
this is more of a uh, towards the fan to like a fan service kind of thing, and also to give a bigger exposure of F1 technicalities to the casual fan base, right? So they know in and out of what's happening, rather than just seeing, oh, that's a car, oh, why this car is faster, why that car is faster. Now they at least know different things on the car.
The
So
reasons behind why it's faster.
yeah, so I think it's a good touch from the FIA as well, and Liberty to get that going.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Teams have agreed to do it, so I guess it's good. But how much will they talk? How much will they
How
reveal?
much will
That's
they
definitely on the
actually, yeah, the actual details that would be revealed, that's still, yeah,
Mm.
that's still unknown.
Obviously, they're not gonna say like, "Oh, we did this amount of exact changes, these changes to do this and that."
Yeah, yeah.
So they'll just say, that, "Okay, yeah, we have brought a different specification of our front wing just to try out,
I feel like
uh,
it's like show and
align
tell,
the
you know.
way."
You're like bringing your project for the class.
Correct. Exactly. I think that's the exact thing. It's more of a show and tell every week that's gonna happen. But yeah, other than that, we have the same, good old FP1, 2, 3 qualifying, which they have crucially removed the Q2 tire rule, which means
Right.
you
Yes.
do not have to start if you qualify in top 10 in Q2, you do not have to be starting on that tire compound. So
It's
basically,
free
quali
choice,
one,
though.
2, 3 is all gonna be on the softest tire. In the race, you can start on any tire compound that you want,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. I'd say we'll get something like in the early 2000s, where you get a different tires start. You can start on different tires as
Different
well.
strategies, yeah, going for a
Strategies.
long, going long, or going for multiple pit stops and so on. be
Yeah.
interesting. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully it will have a good effect on the races,
Racing. Mhm.
on the racing and on the overtaking and all that. Yep.
So,
Okay,
what's
so
the special thing we have for today?
yes, before we end, there are a couple of things that we also did want to go through. Let me just bring that up. Hopefully it can be seen on stream. If not, then I'll try and enlarge it. Can you have a look? Is it viewable properly?
Let's see if it's visible on the small screen. If it is, then I guess it's good.
If not, then I will enlarge it. Uh, okay, you know what? I'll just do that.
It looks pretty good, yeah. Might want to enlarge it a little bit.
I'll enlarge it. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Let's just
Okay.
go faces away for
Yeah,
a moment.
turn off our faces for now. But yeah, so
Yeah, there
basically
you go.
we are going to be running the review grid bingo. So what this basically is we are going to be playing bingo for the duration of the
Right.
entire season.
Mm.
And yeah, it is the usual, you know, like usually you would see F1 races, each individual race will have a bingo card related to the particular race.
Mm-hmm.
We decided to look at it more of like a season point of view, and so we've input multiple different scenarios. Hopefully we get a bingo by the end of the season, you know.
Yeah.
So we'll just quickly go through each of these points as well. We'll just alternate lah among both of us, right?
Yeah, and
So
speaking of the alternate things, so the ones that we have in the black font, that's what Azion has wrote down. So those are his
yes,
predictions for the season, and then the ones in the darker blue font, that's what I've written,
yep,
and then the one right smack in the middle is what both of us has agreed to
would
put it as a prediction. So
definitely happen this
definitely
season.
happen.
Yeah,
So maybe we can start off with the one in the middle lah.
yeah,
Luis complains about his tires. Surely that's gonna happen. Bono, tires are gone or something.
yep.
Tires are fine. That's not really complaining. More like
Tires are
tires are
gone,
going
or you know,
bad.
tires are not heating up properly, or you know,
Yeah,
not warming up properly, something like
yeah.
that.
If we get that in the first race itself, we can pretty much cross it
That's
off
cross, yeah,
next week, right?
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good start already,
yeah.
right? Yeah. What about yours
All
at the
right.
start?
So, yeah, the first thing that I brought up was Haas scoring points. So obviously, this did not happen last season. Haas were the only team to not score a single point last season.
Yeah.
So if this were to happen, looking at their current performance, you know, their preseason performance, it seems quite strong. Hopefully, it carries forward into the actual season itself, and yeah, hopefully they manage to actually score some points during the course of the season, and we will get to cross that off.
Mm. Cool, cool, cool. Yep. Okay. And then the second one we have right after that is Ferrari 1-2 twice or more in the season. Now that's a very bold prediction there,
Yep.
but I feel this just you know a bit of a biased choice here to put in there. But also like pretty much like we are trying to just mess up each other's predictions over here by
Yeah,
putting in
you're trying to
all
troll
right.
each other basically.
So we're just trolling at the same time. We're trying to have fun with the season. So Ferrari 1-2, at least twice in the season. I feel it's definitely possible given that they are improving from the season,
Yep.
and if they do well, they do well.
Yep. So
Yeah.
my next prediction was a race has 3 red flags or more. So basically, at minimum 3 red flags or more than that. And I have a feeling we might get this in the second race itself in Jeddah. This might already happen, you know,
Yeah, yeah,
not too long from now.
it's entirely possible
Yeah,
because Jeddah is that kind of a track.
yeah.
But even any other place like Baku, even it's entirely possible we
Baku
have
or
three
Singapore.
tracks.
Singapore,
Yeah,
because we haven't raced there in a while somewhere, right? So yeah, it could be interesting to see anything like that
yeah.
happening there.
We have quite a long hope here because Haas scoring points of red flag, we can pretty much wait till the end of the season for either one to come true, right?
Yeah.
But Ferrari 1-2, you know, till the second last race, if they don't get a 1-2,
Then yeah, we know that first row is off.
that one is completely gone. Yeah,
Yeah.
which also brings us to the next one. Tire issues or tire blowouts in at least two races. Now with the new tires coming in, new cars, teams definitely would not have the perfect data on it, like their peak performance when they may blow out or whatnot. So something like Qatar last year, right?
Mm.
Tires blowing out as well. And the year before Silverstone also just went poop here and there. So I kind of
If
predict
it
that
happens in two races at
two
least,
races at
yeah.
least. I think that would be a good one to cross out. So definitely looking forward to this. Maybe in like some high speed track, like Silverstone is definitely a favorite. If there's a tire blowout to happen, Silverstone is one of the ones where it should happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. For
Next.
the next one, basically this is very simple. Sunoda getting a podium. I put this in mainly because I think we can say like we can see for the past couple of years, Gasly he has already won a race in 2020. 2021, Ocon won a race. 2022, I think there would be the opportunity for Sunoda to I didn't even mention win a race, but to get to the podium because I think a lot of like what we've discussed, the entire 2 hours for the past 2 hours, like the
Yeah.
overtaking is going to be much more, hopefully much more better this entire season. So there's probably going to be a lot of opportunities and a lot of incidents as well. And I think this would likely bolster the chance of Sunoda actually getting to a top three position. So yeah,
Yep.
that's that.
Yeah. That brings us next to the prediction number six. Quite a bold one here by me. A race with all three different tire compounds. So what I meant by that was like we'll have like intermediates, wets, the extreme wets, right? The blue ones, the interiors, the green ones, and also at least one compound of slick tires, the hard, medium, or soft. So
So
we
it's
better hope we
either
get
dry to
very
wet or a wet to
wet,
dry.
wet, wet to dry. Let's hope, but that means, the drivers will have to make those kind of pit stop. It's not just like one driver mistakenly starting on wets when it's actually inters, then he has to
No, no,
swap to
I think
dry.
we can still take it into account. If that happens, the chances of that happening is low. So if it does happen, I think we can still take it into account.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
maybe it becomes like light rain and then becomes heavy rain and then light and dry
yeah.
again. We'll possibly,
We have to take
debate
a
over
look at all the pit
uh,
stops after the race, of all the drivers to make sure anyone fits
yeah,
this or not. But yeah,
correct.
next Norris gets his first win. I think this is definitely going to happen this season. It was very close to
Eh,
happening last year,
yeah,
and I think this is definitely going to happen this season. So yeah, I'm quite confident with that.
yep.
We're getting that.
Everyone will get their big break lah, like how Leclerc almost won it in 2020 Bahrain, but
Mm,
eventually half season later he won it in Spa. So yeah, it's coming I think for Norris.
yep,
Next, prediction number eight, we have all Ferrari powered podium. Now it can be all three yeah, I mean not all three Ferrari, as it could be mixture of any Ferrari car, Alfa Romeo or Haas, so we may even have like Ferrari, Alfa, Haas podium or mixture of all three.
yep,
I don't know. It may happen, but it's just that to spice things up.
yeah,
If Ferrari is really that good, if the cars are that good, let's see.
yep, exactly.
Mhm.
All right, and the next thing, a race ends with 12 classified cars or less. So that means this is basically going to be a race of attrition. Either this is going to relate to the tire issues blowout that's mentioned directly above it, or it could also be related to the race has three red flags or more.
Thanks.
So
Yeah.
yeah, having a race end with just 12 classified cars, it could happen
Mhm.
if we have another like a Mugello 2020 incident, or
Oh,
another like
oh,
very bad Jeddah race. Yeah, it could happen. So yeah,
correct.
second row, I think second row is going to be quite tough lah, essentially. uh the last one for second
Yeah.
row.
Last one said second row. It's one for the memes, one for the culture boys. There
Yeah,
we go. It's
this might just
Spinalla.
happen on like free practice this this week.
Yeah, that's the thing. Although maybe okay, maybe practice is just quite common, right? For people to spin. Maybe let's take this into a bit of a consideration for quali and race only lah, because
Okay.
that's where drivers usually are in like focus mode, right? So
Yep.
if you see them spinning in race, that's like there we go.
Yep,
It's ticked off
ticked.
finally, or crossed off, rather. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Next one. This is another simple one as well. Danny Rick does a shoey. So if the McLaren is strong this season, high chances of him being on the podium. And I don't think this doesn't have to be a win. He does the shoey sometimes when he's just on the podium here, or he forces other people to do it. So I would consider
Yeah.
that as taking this off as well.
I mean, if he's forcing someone to do a shui, he's definitely going to do it first,
Yeah, yeah,
lah.
he's going to do it also. Yeah, he's going to
Yeah,
be his
so
shoe. It's going to
it's
be his shoe.
issues, some more, yeah, yeah, one or the other.
Yeah.
And then next one.
Oh
Again,
boy.
oh, yo, yo, this is the big prediction that we have. Ferrari World Constructors Championship in 2022. There's three Ferrari predictions that I put here that, all can unravel and go down the drain if Ferrari is not even a top contending car.
Yeah.
Uh, Big hopes, big bold predictions there, I must say. But, yep, simple as that. Ferrari Constructors, let's go.
Yep. Next is you as well, George.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, yeah. Because right in the middle is something that we both think it's gonna happen,
Yeah.
and then yeah, this one again for the culture, for the memes, but this time it's George Russell, so we're gonna get George, it's James, please abort the fastest lap of time, or maybe like
Oh, please invert the car.
invert the cars into this lap. So we might get some team orders in Mercedes.
Yeah, especially if it's
Uh,
towards the end of the season. I feel like.
uh, Yeah, so I
Yeah.
feel George may get this at some point, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah.
All right, and my next one is a driver wins more than 3 races in a row. So it has to be more than, so meaning they have to win 4 races like at least. And this I mainly put this in here because of the fact last season the maximum number of races won in a row was 3 by Verstappen, and then also I think Hamilton also had done it, but they did
Mhm.
not win more than 3 races in a row. So this is just to counter that. So yeah, if a driver wins four
Pretty
races,
close last season, to be fair. Hmm.
yeah, it was very close last season. They won 3 lah, basically 3 in a row. But this to qualify, I mean to get to tick this off, it has to be 4 in a row at least, and then yeah,
Yeah,
it can be ticked off. And the
yeah.
next one,
Might be possible if there's a car that's like crazily, ahead of the pack. That's entirely possible that
yeah,
a
they just
team
run away.
might actually win multiple races in a row. A team might actually win multiple in a row, but will a driver of the team win more than three in a row?
Yeah, this is
That's
a
the big,
driver. Yeah, this is a
yeah.
specific
That's
driver.
all. Okay, another one for the lols and the culture and the meme. Were ham bought in some order in quali or race?
Yeah,
Uh, Again, because it's a season reset. Now, obviously, don't you may be thinking like, hey, why were ham bought us in a different team? Yes, so it's
exactly.
a
That's
different
why
team. But that's the thing, if it's a different team and having Warham bought in some order, you never know, Alpha might be like
Alpha
top
might be
tier.
really good in quali.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So if that happens, we get a word hambot in some order. It can be hambot word, hamword ball, whatever order it is. 1, 2, 3 for those three drivers in quali or race. I'll happily cross that off.
yep. All right, my next one, a driver gets temporarily subbed during the season. So this
Mm-hmm.
is more I mean, of course, I hope it's not due to any injury related. But if it does happen due to injury related, then this will be ticked off as well. But this is more of the fact that there are drivers incidents where the drivers have gotten COVID or they are not feeling well enough to race. So over the past couple of years, that has happened at least once or twice. So yeah, this is mainly for that. So if there happened to be a driver that was replaced by another driver for one race, then yeah, this will be ticked off.
Yeah, correct. Do we consider like a driver like you know being
Sacked.
sacked and then there's a reserve
Yeah.
standing in or another driver standing in that counted as well? Mm-hmm.
Um,
Would that be temporary or that's more like
the word that I put there was temporarily mainly thinking about the first example that I mentioned, but I think we can take that into account as well. Basically,
uh,
it's the driver being sub lah.
I see. All right,
Yeah,
got it. So, and then my next prediction was this one is a good old throwback to some
streaming
MotoGP
days.
streaming shenanigans and whatnot. And this year, finally, once again, we have the Twitch quartet reunited. So George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, and also Lando Norris. So four of them are back on the grid, and would be nice. You know, it's a long shot, but it would be nice to see 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh, the four of them occupying occupying
Yeah,
the top four spots in quali or the race. Race as in race results. So quali
yeah.
also quali results.
It
Um,
might happen, especially if like sorry, not Bottas, Hamilton or Verstappen has like penalties or engine penalties or gearbox penalties, then it might like push people up. It
yeah,
that would
correct.
yeah that would can be considered as well.
Yeah. But even if let's say like let's say Hamilton has engine penalties, he still qualifies P1, but will start the race at the back, maybe like P10. That's still considered Hamilton in P1. So if let's say this Twitch quarter comes 2, 3, 4, 5,
It's
that's
just one off.
a big oof over there. Yeah.
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 All right. The next one, a podium without a Merc, Red Bull, or Ferrari driver. So
Mhm.
yeah, essentially last season there was pretty much always a Merc or a Red Bull
On the
driver
podium.
on the podium. I think in Monza, third place was Perez, right?
No,
Is it?
it was actually uh
Who was third place?
no, 1-2 was to
Was it Vettel?
it was
No, no.
Bottas, I think.
Oh, it was Bottas.
Bottas,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah. He was interviewed and then he had the whole meme.
for
Looking
me,
back,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
you're right. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, basically, yeah, having a podium without a driver from any of these three teams that would take that off.
Yep. And which also comes another podium prediction here, similar to what earlier predicted was Tsunoda getting a podium. So I've predicted that K-Mag gets a podium on his uh, return to F1 this season.
Season, yeah.
Not too shabby of a prediction, given that while results have been a thing of the past, we may get one or two wild races again this season. Maybe he gets one. He
Mm-hmm.
gets it.
Yeah, you can never say.
Imagine if Sunoda and K-Mac get on the podium in the same
Oh,
race.
two in one go.
Yummy. And
And
there's no
Seb spins
Red
at the
Bull
same time.
Ferrari. Seb's been at the
No, you
thing.
want to get that column down, right? If Seb
Hold for
spins,
them. Yeah,
yeah,
imagine and no Merc, Red Bull or Ferrari in the same podium on the podium as well. So that's like three
yeah,
checked out in one race. Wow,
yeah.
that's like lottery day, I guess.
Yep. All right. The next one, Crofty confuses team or driver names when commentating. So I think this speaks for itself. He really to me personally, I really get annoyed sometimes because he always messes up the team or the driver names and stuff. Like he's talking about different driver when another driver is being shown on screen, like that kind of thing. So yeah,
Yeah,
any confusion like that happens, then this gets ticked off.
it might happen because say like we have like some drivers with almost similar numbers, right? Um,
Yeah.
Max this season is running number one, right? Perez is 11, so if he's like, oh, let's check on Perez, blah, blah, blah. But it's actually Max, he just like didn't see that extra one, or maybe he's seeing double vision or something.
Yeah.
Or
Or
maybe like,
the cars as well, like the Alpine
uh,
and the what do you call Alpine and
mhm.
Williams or something. If he gets confused between those, like when
Imagine if he says like Mercedes of uh Valtteri Bottas. I'm sorry,
yeah, yeah,
Mercedes of
exactly, yeah,
George Russell and all this kind. Yeah, so a lot of driver movement is also imagine he gets confused there.
yeah,
Pretty nice, pretty nice. Next one, another one for the Ferrari boys. This also depends if they have a win. But this one is more of a ballsy one because if they happen to win a race, uh, if Carlos Sainz wins before Charles Leclerc, this gets ticked off. Otherwise, this is permanently going
this
down in
permanently, yeah,
one
gone.
game. Yeah. So let's hope Carlos, gets his win ahead of Leclerc. I think it's entirely possible. Both of
Mm-hmm.
them have really good last season, neck and neck. Uh, yeah, I would like to see Carlos win first, just for this. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind either one of
Either
them win.
one, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one, animal track invasion during a race weekend. So I think this is most definitely going to happen sometime soon as well. A lot of times where we'll see a random dog or cat or something, running across the track, or yeah,
Yeah.
some weird animal will be just on the track. I would consider, even if let's say it was like a bird that was just sitting on the curb and then there's a car came and then it flew off because
Yeah.
yeah, because it was I would say it's a track invasion. Like it's like the animals
Yeah.
was there while the cars were going full speed.
My bet would be on Canada as usual every year. There'll
Right.
be like some I don't know like prairie dogs or
Beaver
what
or something.
beavers or something, right?
Yeah.
Just like middle of the track, just like and just like then on the radio you can hear yeah there's some animal on track, blah blah blah, and yeah, there we go. We check that off.
Yeah.
Uh, Maybe Austria. That's one place we have seen also in the past.
Yeah.
Um,
I think in was
Asian-
it Bahrain or Qatar there was like dogs on the track or something, right? There's
well,
a
Bahrain
dog.
I think last year.
Bahrain.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, that might happen as
Yeah.
well.
Next one. Kind of an opposite of what Azum predicted earlier. A race with all 20 classified finishes. So
No
imagine that.
retirements.
No retirements. I think we've had that at some point of the season last year.
Yeah, yeah, we definitely did. We finished with all the
So
cars.
it's possible. So when we say classified, right, that means everyone is classified as finisher. Even if they like retire, within 1 or 2 laps to go, they're still counted as +1 or +2 laps at the end.
Yeah,
That's considered classified. So whatever the rule says classified, it's classified. Yeah.
yep,
So we get there. Um,
yep.
Last one.
And the final one, Checo becomes the Minister of Defense again. So what I mean here, this is going to be a bit more subjective, but basically, Checo became crowned the Minister of Defense at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix last year. With his defense against Lewis Hamilton. If that sort of similar incident takes place, it doesn't have to be against Hamilton. It can be against anyone on the grid. But if he provides that sort of defense again, then this will be crossed off
Mhm.
the grid. Yeah,
And I'm guessing it probably helps Verstappen's results at the end of the day, or helps at least Max to get a better result. So maybe
yep,
that will count into that as well. Or either that, or just he puts on a mega show of his own, just defending for years.
yeah.
Mhm.
And yep, that's it for the review grid bingo. So hopefully we'll be able to get some of the items crossed off there by the time we come back again next week after Bahrain Grand Prix. But one final thing, right before we leave, we've been going on for more than 2.5 hours now. I'm surprised this is actually longer than our our
Oh yeah.
2021 review.
Uh,
But
well,
yeah,
yeah.
final
It
thing that
happens.
we do wanna go through as well. Predictions.
Yeah.
Predictions for the Grand Prix, predictions for the overall season, if you will.
Hmm. Right.
You wanna go first?
Okay. Sure. Maybe I'll go with the overall season prediction first.
Alright.
I'd say my top three, not in any order, but
Hold
I'd
on, let
say
me let me put some background music as well while this is
oh
going on.
yeah, yes, give
Yeah.
me some
Alright. Yeah.
Titanic
Go ahead.
music or something. Okay, so predictions for the 2022 F1 season. For constructors, the top three, I would say. I mean, I've already put down in the bingo card earlier Ferrari to win the World Constructors Championship, so I have to put Ferrari as number one.
Right.
There's no other option there, so Ferrari number one. Two and three can be in any order. I'd say Red Bull will come close second, and third maybe will go to um. I wanna be ballsy and say um a team like Alpine, maybe.
Oh,
Alpine will
okay.
get third.
Alright.
Okay.
Alright.
And
Interesting.
a dark horse maybe for the entire constructors, maybe a team that may surprise us of all. Uh, I'd say is Haas. So
Okay.
I
I'm
mean,
surprised you didn't mention McLaren.
nah, I think
Huh?
McLaren they have the performance, but I just don't think they might just be that good, given that they have issues for now. That may all change come race one, but yeah, that's my prediction for the overall season's constructors.
Okay.
Hmm.
Alright, so let me just reduce it a little bit. Alright, for me, for constructors, I think I will go with Red Bull,
Mm-hmm.
followed
Interesting.
by
Understandable.
Mercedes, and
Uh-huh.
Ferrari in third.
The usual
I
three
think,
suspects.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Ferrari are strong, but I think Merc, if they are not strong in the first couple of races, they're going to definitely bounce back, and they will definitely catch up. But by that time, Red Bull might have already pulled the gap, and the gap might just continue over time. So that's why, yeah, that's my thinking. Even though, of
In,
course, I want Ferrari to win, I'm a Ferrari fan anyway. But yeah, looking at the performance, hopefully I'm proved wrong. Hopefully they are higher up. But yeah, this is what I'm
yeah.
looking at. Constructors wise, Red Bull, Merc, Ferrari,
It's
and
basically a
then
reverse of last season there. Mm-hmm.
yeah, actually, sort of, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
All right,
Hmm.
for drivers championship,
Or what about the dark horse for the
Oh,
constructors? Who do
dark horse.
Hmm,
Hmm, hard to choose between Alpine and AlphaTauri.
I see. You gotta select one, sir.
I think I'll go with Alpine as well. I think Alonso being there bumps them up a little bit more.
El Plan.
Yeah, Alpine working, you know.
Yeah, maybe the L plan will be better than the master plan. Who knows?
Yeah,
Only time will tell. Right, so that's for the
constructors.
constructors done. What about the drivers? Okay, so drivers top three. Uh, well, I didn't say which driver will win the constructor drivers championship, didn't I? Yeah.
No.
So I would say Max Verstappen, uh,
Okay.
world champion, second time in a row. Um, Second might be close between Lando, I'd say. Lando might be close there if you know gets the car right and he has the individual performance to pull it through.
Okay.
Uh, he might be close second. Third, I'd say maybe George. Maybe
Oh, okay. So
George.
you think George will pick Hamilton
He will
in
just
Merc?
pick Hamilton. Yeah.
Okay.
So I might. I think that might just happen. A dark horse for the drivers' championship. Uh, Alonso.
Oh,
uh,
wow. Okay.
Big
Okay.
balls over there. You know, I want to see him maybe make it in the top three or even win it. So he's the dark horse for me, I'd say. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Hmm. Drivers' Championship. I would have to go. I think I'll still have to go with Max
Okay.
for P1. For number one. Shoot.
It's tough, huh?
I think number
Yeah.
two is still going to be Hamilton. Like I said, I think Merck is definitely going to bounce back. Even if they don't have a good start to the season, they're going to bounce back. So I'm going to say Verstappen, Hamilton, and I want to put a Ferrari in there. I'm going to say Leclerc.
Okay.
Leclerc for P3. Dark Horse, Norris.
Norris.
Yeah.
Okay.
In
Okay.
case, because we never know. Suddenly, if the McLaren does, buck up and it manages to be another front running team, I think Norris would be the one to take advantage compared to Ricardo. So yeah, we'll put Norris as a dark horse.
Some interesting dynamics there, I think, right? Because the way I put my predictions, I feel like Ferrari may be strong as a team, but they may not be able to pull out the individual performance. Thus, the predictions of Ferrari winning the constructors, but falling
Not
short in
the
the drivers.
yeah
Whereas for the drivers, I think Max definitely has shown that he's capable of doing it. The car definitely looks like in the right place. He's capable of winning the drivers. But for constructors, again they might fall short in that sense.
right.
Yeah, Merc maybe I I don't know. For once, I think they actually don't have the outright performance to start off well,
Yeah, I
but
think I'm on a
they might
similar mindset as well. But I think they will definitely bounce back. We will see them come back probably after Jeddah or something because Jeddah is immediately after Bahrain, right? So I don't think they can recover it by the
first two
second race.
races maybe not so much. Third race onwards, I think it's Imola,
Mm,
right?
yeah,
That's where things will get interesting.
yeah.
Mm. Okay,
For
so
Bahrain,
Bahrain. Let's see.
I'll go
Who is
first then.
the other one? Oh yeah, sure. Maybe he take the lead this time.
For Bahrain, I'm gonna say this is just P1, P2, P3 lah. I don't think any dark horse would be there. It's just like what we guess for 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna say Sainz,
No.
Verstappen, Leclerc.
Okay.
One, two,
Okay.
three.
1, 2, 3.
I
That's a
feel
tough
Ferrari is
one.
strong and they are
Uh-huh.
going to perform, but I think Verstappen is probably going to be splitting them.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that's good. At least that helps me to check
Yeah,
off
it
one.
also has check that off lah.
Uh, okay, okay. And I definitely have a different idea in my mind for the top three here. I feel again. might just be a strong start for Red Bull here.
Okay.
Red Bull will be winning, and that will be courtesy of Max. And second place uh, goes to um, I wouldn't say George. I wanted to say George, but I think his time will come very soon in the season. I'd say Carlos might get
Okay.
his yeah, and Petri maybe close to. I'll go a bit ballsy on this one. Maybe I'll just put K-Mac up there for lowest.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Maybe the Haas might just be that good, and he might
And
just
then
make a
McP for Haas
result.
finishing third and fourth. Haas would have
Yeah,
more
you never
points.
know.
If that happened, Haas would have more points than Mercedes at the start of the season.
Yeah, 2021 out of context
Yeah.
memes and stuff.
Is this reverse grid happening?
Yeah, yeah, that's my
All right. All
prediction.
right. Okay.
So,
Cool.
I think yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it'll be good to see. Good to see the results happening this weekend. And I'm feeling super hyped right now,
Yeah,
and
all these wild predictions, like okay, maybe for the
because there's so
first
many
race,
unknowns.
yeah,
There's so
so
many
many
unknowns.
unknowns.
Yeah.
Maybe race two onwards we'll get a better idea of what's happening.
Yeah.
But the one thing that we can't go back on now on is the season predictions that we have made. We'll come back
Yeah.
at the end of the season and see
See how badly we did.
how badly we predicted, how things have aged, how badly some things have aged, and yeah, that will
Yeah.
be marked for records. Mhm.
Okay. And with that, that is
Mhm.
actually the end of today's episode. This is the longest episode that we've had yet, almost 3 hours right now.
And
But
we
yeah,
promise to make it shorter for next race, but
yeah,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think for the next episode, since we are going to be talking purely only for Bahrain or whatever happens in Bahrain, from qualifying to race and so on, it'll be more concise. But yeah, it's been great. It's been great to have all these discussions for the past couple of weeks, and I'm excited to continue with it as well.
Mhm.
Thanks, Dolph, as usual, for joining me as my
Thanks for
co-host.
inviting as well.
And to all those watching on Twitch, thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. And to all those on YouTube, I hope to hear from you guys soon. Please, leave your comment. Anything that you agree with us, you don't agree with us, let us know. Let us know your own predictions as well. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think about it as well. But yes, that will be it from us for today. Thanks again, everyone. We will see you next week, Tuesday, once again for the Bahrain GP Roundup. Ciao.
Ciao. Take care. Bye.
Bye.